Party's not a party's a man who fights crime, and we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time with John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Hello everyone, welcome once again to the Bat Minute hiatus episodes, and in 2026, Maggie Gyllenhaal posed a question to the world. Do you want to see my new Bride of Frankenstein movie? And the world said, I would prefer not to. Except us. Because me and John, actually went and watched this thing that is, it's something. We will get into some. But I will say one thing, it is definitely upset. Financially, as of the minute, this is a business-wise a complete disaster in terms of like financial, fiduciary organizational stuff. Within Hollywood terms, this is a catastrophe of gargantuan proportions. But does that make it a bad film? We'll get into it. So
we'll find out. Yeah, you say like nobody wanted to see it. On paper, I think a lot of people wanted to see it.
Oh, there was so much excitement for this. And to be fair, I say like nobody went to see it. It's like plenty of people did see it, and I've seen many people who loved it as well. I've seen many people go like, this was exactly everything I wanted from it, and then a lot of other people saying, dear God, what the hell was this? And surprising enough...
What have I done?
Surprising enough, a lot of people in between as well. It seems to be a very consistent, like, kind of... I was expecting it to be like a rock-solid 5 out of 5, but it turned out to be kind of like a 2.5 kind of deal to a lot of people.
This is kind of my view, which we will get to, of course, is... Was it good? No. Did I have fun? Absolutely. It reminded me of Megalopolis.
Yeah. That's the thing. Well, I think at least with again on a financial level, Megalopolis kind of gets away with it because so much of that was Francis Ford Coppola's own money. So it's like, you can, man, go and do whatever you want. Yeah, sure. But this is $200 million. I think this cost. 200. It's like, where did it go? Like, what did you spend that money on? And
as someone who's going to defend it as being fun, it's not worth that. That's crazy. Like, the visuals aren't like anything spectacular.
Well, I mean, I would say the visuals are gorgeous, but it's not like, Titanic or something.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I like the actual cinematography of it, but there's not like loads of effects and stuff. Yeah. I mean, you've got the makeup.
Okay. I went Jurassic overboard. No, not 200 million. It is 90 million.
Okay. That's a little bit more reasonable. Isn't that a weird world we live in where that's reasonable?
Yeah. But the 90 million for this is still like, what? And it grossed thus far 24 million. So it is there's a lot of people probably. I imagine there's a lot of people in Hollywood going, this lady's never going to direct again.
That's a shame, because I don't mind a direction. I don't mind the direction. There's lots to like in the movie.
Well, I think it's... Well, anyway, just so in case people are still...
if you haven't read the title.
This is, in fact, Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Bride. This is actually kind of, I guess, John, technically, like, we could use this as a unofficial pilot episode for I Do Declare.
I was literally thinking that as you shouted The Bride, it reminded me that there's an exclamation mark.
Because I feel like this is the first film we've actually reviewed. We've mentioned many that have exclamation points in the title, but this is the first one that we've actually had to talk about in depth that does. So it's like, this would be, this where I Do Declare, this would be like the first episode of...
Let's start over. Welcome to I Do Declare.
The very first episode of I Do Declare. People aren't aware too, because that was like, if you're not listening to the main show of that minute, we have a long recurring joke about a pitched podcast called I Do Declare, where we review films that have an exclamation point in the title. And I say recurring joke. It's a thing I very much want to do someday. But we've got other things. We've got other irons in the fire, you know. But yeah, we do have The Bride. And people should know, you can't see me, but every time I say The Bride, I am pointing with a kind of like, you know, my hand into the air with my index finger out to go for emphatic, like, The Bride kind of thing.
I am so happy you said that, because I do it every time. I thought it was just me going, The Bride!
And I feel it's the first
I
major...
quite like that. I like that style of putting the exclamation mark. What I don't like is the tagline.
Well, what was it?
I'm going to have to swear.
But oh yeah, the here comes the mother effing bride, I guess was the whole...
Yeah, I think that is so lame. And when that line is said in the movie, it's lame.
Yeah, it's very juvenile. Like, it's kind of...
Yeah, I would have thought that was cool when I was 15. Like, yeah, man.
Yeah, and there's a couple of things like that in here where I'm like, this is very kind of almost bordering on edgelords, kind of like... Yeah, this ain't your mom's Frankenstein. You're like, yeah, but you know, it's 2026. what are we doing with this?
Although you say that, right? Amusingly, the monster. Well, he doesn't like to be called that, of course. Frank. Let's go on Frank. She calls him that in the movie.
Yeah, I think they do at least clarify early on. They're like, just call him Frank. Like that's what we're going for in this.
Dare I say, he's quite a good adaptation of the book Frankenstein.
Yeah. There's like also
he's very smart. He's very well read. He's well spoken.
Yeah, he's had time because apparently he's like immortal, which is I don't know if that was ever ever addressed in any of the other Frankensteins. Where it's like, I guess once you bring him back to life, he doesn't age. He just stays. Like the flesh just does not need to rot ever. Like it just like he is now a perpetual being, but
I don't know if that's been addressed in any major ones, but I've always assumed that was the case.
Oh, I just assumed he would just like live for like another 90 odd years or something, but he's just like, he's just bigger, but he's still gonna age and die. There's no reason why the body parts they're still gonna get wear and tear. They're still gonna be worn down over time. So.
But they're not. I don't know. They're not being filled with the things that a living man's would be. Well, I say that, but then he has urges.
Well, that's
which is the whole point. That's putting it in a base level. He clarifies it's not about that necessarily. It's not about getting his leg over.
Yeah. I will also say too that like it's one of my favorite aspects that people never really talk about in the Mary Shelley book of Frankenstein. Is that she does not give any details as to how that creature was made, like all the stuff about like how this would come together and stuff. Like you see Guillermo del Toro there really going to town about what you'd need to do and all this sort of stuff. Yeah. And her whole thing was because she was more interested in the story. She's like, I'm not a scientist. So it's basically in the book it's just Frankenstein because it's all written in his journals. He's just like. Yeah, then I made the creature, and I won't tell you how, because otherwise you'll just copy it. So I'm not doing it. It's just a very shrewd way of getting around, like, I don't know how you do it, but like somehow he did it,
that was back in a time where you couldn't just Google and look up some weird, like, new experiments people were doing and take inspiration from that. She came up with this, well, didn't she come up with the base of it on, like, The Fly?
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. Oh, as she says... in the movie, on a dare, like the body drunkard that is Mary Shelley in this movie, hidden in her like Jesus. Under the stairs in this like bizarre black vacuum she's stuck in, where she's just constantly ranting and raving about all this, like she's like a pissed aunt at a birth, like at a funeral or something. Like it was a really
good God,
one of. So I feel like, again, we kind of said in the green room, this episode might be a bit of a hodgepodge all over the place, which is in keeping with the spirit of the film itself. But it should just clarify at the beginning, the reason why we're covering The Bride, of course, that people can't put together. It is incredibly Batman adjacent in that Christian Bale and Maggie Gyllenhaal, for the first time since The Dark Knight, have come together to be in a thing. And it also does, a lot of people were comparing it to The Joker 2. There was kind of
1,000%. I've written that in my notes. Absolutely. Yeah. And in fact, I think if Joker 2 hadn't bombed, or maybe if it hadn't come out, Gaga would have been in this.
Well, maybe.
She looks like Gaga in half of her music videos.
Yeah, I guess that is it. Yeah. But yeah, so that's the justification. It was also a thing too, because if people don't know me, I love Frankenstein. I specifically love The Bride of Frankenstein. I think that's like that might be it's over the years has become like, you can argue like, oh, is it better than the original, whatever. I'm just like, no, I think it's just in like my top 10 favorite films though. Like I just love every time I rewatch it, I'm like, this is great. I'm having endless great fun times with The Bride of Frankenstein. And so then when they announced
it's fun, it's meant to be terrifying.
That movie of yours, Young Frankenstein, scared the hell out of me. But it
does scare me because, as you know, I don't really like it.
But yet they directly reference it in The Bride. Yeah. That whole putting on the Ritz thing. It's like, is this a riff on Young Frankenstein? Like, what? And it felt
very in keeping with Frank, though. Not even this Frank. Any version. He seems like someone who might teach himself to dance.
Oh, yeah, totally. Well, I guess, he's been dithering around by himself for 100-odd years. So, if people aren't aware of what the pitch of The Bride is, and I think a lot of people weren't completely informed of what it was exactly going to be when they went to see it.
No, I wasn't. I absolutely wasn't. I thought, it's just like a mod. I thought, for a start, I thought it was like modern or 80s or something, right?
Yeah.
I thought, it's just a retelling, kind of like, the few twists. More than a few.
And then also, like, within the opening minutes, where you're like, Mary Shelley's ghost? What? And then she possesses... Mary Shelley's ghost, played by Jessie Buckley, possesses a woman who looks exactly like Jessie Buckley. Coincidentally, I guess. And then you're kind of like, I guess it's riffing on, like, in The Bride of Frankenstein, because Elsa Lanchester played Mary Shelley in the framing device of that.
Yes.
And then she, of course, would play, the bride at the end of the movie. But in that, it's kind of like, you're just like, yeah, that's fun, I guess. And a lot of people probably wouldn't recognize it was the same actress. But this is a real, like, what? In terms of, like, she found a woman who looks exactly like her, and it's by sheer coincidence. And also, it gets into this whole thing of Mary Shelley, her ghost is a real person who's died, and this is her spirit. She wrote the fictional story Frankenstein, and then she goes into a woman's body where the Frankenstein monster is real. And
yes,
she's able to interact with her fictional character in a reality where he is real, but it's not like... And you're like, is it like a sequel to... You could be like, maybe it's a sequel to the book written after she died. But she died way before the 1930s, which is... It's set in the 1930s for some reason. Never clarified why. And you're just sort of left to be like, but she would know what the 1930s looked like. So if this is Mary Shelley's sequel to her own book, how does she know what the 30s looks like when she had been dead way, way, way before then? Like, what is...
This was the first of the questions for me, and there were many. What's going on? Right? Because how can any of this make sense? Is it meant to be real or not? Is it meant to be a story or not? I never, throughout the whole runtime, figured that out. Granted, maybe it's because I was drinking beer. I don't know. I never figured out. Like, why is she not astonished that her book is real?
Yeah.
Or you know what, right? I'm just going to say it. I like a lot of the movie. The one thing I hate everything with Shelley.
Yes. Well,
she's terrible, and her bloody like weird swearing rants, and she's like a horn dog and stuff. It's bizarre.
For some reason, too, every time I do an impersonation of Jessie Buckley's Mary Shelley, it ends up going into my Bane voice, and I don't know why. But she's kind of got a bit of, you put like the Bane mask over Jessie Buckley in that. It might come out with a, here comes the motherfucking bride.
Exclamation mark.
Yeah, that's what Tom Hardy's like, no, I was doing an impersonation of Mary Shelley the whole time. Like, didn't people get that?
That's what she said. Yeah, it's very different to what she sounded like in The Bride of Frankenstein, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah. This is like, it would be published, I think. Which is, people haven't seen it.
fucking published, bitch.
That's one of my favorite little moments in that too. Like people I would highly recommend if you people haven't seen The Bride of Frankenstein, go out to watch it. But yeah, Elsa Lanchester does a little thing at the beginning where someone's like, oh, if they were to ever publish your, and then she says like, I think it would be published, and then she just does this bizarre head tilt and goes, I think, as she says it, and you're like, what was the note there? Just like, why don't you just twist your head entirely to the side for that? But
interestingly, I'll save this actually. I'll save this because we still haven't set the scene, really, have we? So.
I mean, I don't really know much more. Yeah, so in terms of behind the scenes stuff, I was surprised and also not surprised at all to learn how this film came about. Is that basically Maggie Gyllenhaal, who, and I feel it might explain why she was given such a massive budget and so much leeway, etc., is Maggie Gyllenhaal, of course, of the noble Gyllenhaal family. Mm-hmm. Quite literally, like her family are like Swedish barons and stuff. And then obviously are of Hollywood stock as well. Like the Gyllenhaals are all the Gyllenhaal children are classic nepo babies. Let's like her mom was, I think her name was Nora Foner, I think, or Naomi Foner. As a playwright and stuff, and then her dad is Stephen Gyllenhaal, who was a director on TV and stuff. The big thing we know that Stephen Gyllenhaal did, John, is the episode of Twin Peaks where Cooper's dancing with Annie, and he looks over, and the giant appears, and he's going like, "No, that's Maggie Gyllenhaal's dad directed that scene."
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I love. I don't know much about him other than that. I love her. She's always been one of my absolute favorites.
Oh, I'm going to say some stuff that's going to be critical of Maggie Gyllenhaal throughout, but like, I do also love Maggie. I've always loved Maggie Gyllenhaal from the get-go, and I will continue to love her. But I feel it kind of explains how this all came about, because she made The Lost Daughter a couple of years ago, and basically, well, actually, I think she got the idea that she wanted to direct because she was in David Simon's The Deuce, which is a David Simon, the guy who made The Wire and stuff.
Oh yeah, I was racking my brain there, trying to think.
The Deuce is like there's a 70s set sort of drama that only lasted 2 seasons, but like Maggie plays a prostitute in it, who then becomes a porno director, and that's her character arc, is that she goes from like, oh yeah, I'm just taking orders, to now like I'm the one calling the shots, etc., etc. And apparently through playing that part, Maggie Gyllenhaal was like, hey, maybe I want to be a director, which is like, okay. So she goes and directs The Lost.
I mean, loads of actors do it, so yeah, give it a shot.
Yeah. I mean, her mom did it kind of quite shortly before she did and stuff as well. It's kind of like, it's in the family business. But yeah, she makes The Lost Daughter, which was very critically acclaimed, has Olivia Colman and Jessie Buckley in it. Jessie Buckley playing the young version of Olivia Colman, which is weird because they're like, these people look nothing alike. I don't know. Like, why do you get that?
Not even similar.
No, not even vaguely. Not even kinda. But based on The Lost Daughter is a very small, very quiet drama. It's a character study of basically the very taboo subject of what if you were a mom and you just really hated being a mom. Like, you're not even like a kind of like, oh, the kids are doing my head in. More of a I don't want to do this. I don't like my child. I just want out of this. And it's kind of like, it's one of those things people were like, I knew some people who were parents who were like, this film was appalling. That they would even think of betraying that sentiment.
Oh, that's unfair, because it's realistic. Like, even if, I'm sure every parent has had that moment. It doesn't mean you actually hate the kid.
Yeah.
And some probably do. So some kids are jerks.
Yeah. It's so weird, though, that she would like do that so well, and then she goes and does a Frankenstein film that doesn't contain Frankenstein himself, because he's the ultimate of like, hey, I had a kid, and oh boy, I do not like this thing. So I really, really have regrets about doing that. But yeah, so that comes out. Jessie Buckley gets nominated for an Oscar for it and stuff, and it has enough success for people to come to Maggie Gyllenhaal to be like, yeah, so like, do you want to do like a Marvel next, or like what are we thinking about? And then she apparently was like, yeah, it was him and Han, various IP that they were throwing at her, because it's like, it's time to level up, lady. You gotta go You can't just make a little indie movie and then make another little indie movie. You've got to now be in the blockbuster space, because that's what we do. And she was hemming and hawing, and then she came across a guy who had a Elsa Lanchester, Bride of Frankenstein tattoo. And she was like, what was that? And then she's like, oh yeah. Oh, I've never seen that movie. And then she had never read the book. She knew nothing of Frankenstein, basically. What? And then she went and watched the movie, thinking like, oh yeah, the Bride of Frankenstein's so iconic and stuff. Like the high hair with the lightning strikes and stuff. And then when she found out that the bride's only in like the last 3 minutes, she was just like, what the fuck? And was just like,
because it's all about the build up to her, isn't it? That's what's exciting.
Yeah. And then she went and read Frankenstein in the book, and she was just like, I bet, without having looked into Mary Shelley at all, that she would have preferred to have a female lead character, and what other transgressive, really advanced kind of taboo subjects would you want to have written about? Because in my mind, she would have been this type of woman. And of course, I've read a lot of reviews by people who are really into Mary Shelley and their attitude towards Maggie Gyllenhaal, where she was like, I don't want to put words in this woman's mouth, but I think it'd be like this. It's like, the opening scene is you putting nothing but endless words in this lady's mouth.
It's insane. I think the movie would work better. Just get rid of all that bit.
Oh yeah, but there's some kind of thing in terms of like the symbolism in there that I'm like, I kind of get what you're doing, but also it's really, really muddy and unclear what the hell is going on with most of it.
At any moment.
Yeah. Like, there's certain things, like, I'm kind of, when you look, because I've seen it twice now. I was there opening day, because I was properly like, bride. Like, I was in the cinema like,
here
oh,
comes the bride! Exclamation mark.
I did a whole week of rewatching other Bride of Frankenstein-based stuff in anticipation. I was watching the old James Whale movies. I watched for the first time another movie called The Bride, in which Sting plays Victor Frankenstein, and Jennifer Beals plays the bride, and it is terrible. It was just so weird. It's like, oh, this will be like the redemption of the title, The Bride, and I was like, no, it's not as bad as that. But like, there's now two kind of like, you know, renowned. I don't want to call this a stinker, but the Sting one, it's not just a stinker. It's a stinker.
Oh my God, Sting! You know what would have saved it though? Sting playing the bride.
Yeah. Sting playing literally everybody. I would have gone.
Like Dr. Dolittle in it.
Yeah, but he's so awful. He's like, in terms of his Victor is probably the most reprehensible I've ever seen. The Victor Frank. He's nothing but like, because Victor Frankenstein is a complex character, you know. There's people who've done him way too heroic in films. There's people who've done him way too villainous. But Sting's version is like, yeah, he's trying to, you know, I know the YouTubers would call it essay. He's trying to essay his own creation and stuff. And he's nothing but just a repulsive, horrible man. And they're like...
That's an interesting take on it, though.
Yeah. So it is one of those bizarre characters. I'm like, yeah, people will never quite get Victor Frankenstein correct, because it feels to me like, if you on paper, he's like, you know, the ultimate sort of autistic, hyper-focused, you know, guy who was just like, I was really obsessed with this thing, and then when I looked back, I you know, took a step back, I was like, oh, what the hell? And then now he's just like, oh, nothing. I love that throughout the book he's just like, I have nothing but regret about this. This is so heinous, I'm so sorry. And then on his deathbed he's like, by the way, everyone, none of that was my fault.
I'm absolved.
It's like, everyone know I didn't do anything wrong.
It's the best way to go out.
Oh, but yeah. So Maggie, that was what brought Maggie Gyllenhaal to this, was a sort of very, very vague understanding of, or just basically having like a kind of, oh yeah, you know, I looked at that, and then I skimmed through some stuff, and then I just took this, you know, this wild swing, which is, I'm all for wild swings. But on this level of this budget, and then to have a kind of very boastful, like, well, I'm speaking for Mary Shelley here, when I don't I've not really looked into the themes or I've just sort of made whatever I wanted and then had her ghost show up to be like, yeah, this is what Mary Shelley would like, right? And you're like,
that's the problem with it. Because there's nothing wrong with doing your own take on something. And there's nothing wrong with doing your own take on something that you've not even got that much knowledge of. That's fine. You know, it's Frankenstein. You want to do a Lady Frankenstein? Here you go. Cool.
Yeah. Absolutely
fine. The problem is the framing of it as like, well, this is the real story now. This is the sequel. It's like, no, it's not.
Wasn't when she says something too
Joker
about like
too. It's Joker and Harley from the bloody what's his face era.
Oh, the Bonnie and Clyde era, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I've written that as well. It's very Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
I like that. Just don't portray it in this way. I think. Don't talk about it in this way.
But it's also like, but why? why are they Bonnie and Clyde? Like, why have you chosen to set it in the 30s? Like, what's the rationale? I guess the 30s is when the original films are made.
Maybe that's it. And aesthetics.
So I'm going through all these things. I feel I'm really coming down hard here in my setup for this film because it is just such a kind of a classic cluster cuss of like a lot of stuff happening in this thing. But I will say overall, like there's so much about it that I genuinely really loved as well. That I was really and I know, like I've seen it twice now. And I know I'll end up watching it again. Like through over the years, I was like, oh yeah, I'll put on The Bride just to bathe in the aesthetics of it because it's like a beautiful looking film. Like,
absolutely, I think it's gonna be a bit of a grower. I think in a few years, people are gonna like it a lot more.
Well, one of the things I really do feel is because I coincidentally just rewatched the other week the film Frank. Which, it's the Frank Sidebottom film that's not about Frank Sidebottom. U.S. listeners might not be too familiar with Frank Sidebottom, but he was basically a British, I kind of hesitate to call him like a novelty act, because he was a proper musician. It was just a very kind of surrealist act he had, but it was kind of sold as being like, he's kind of a funny guy for kids, right? And I was like, there's more to him than
comedy. That. I don't really, but it's so unique and singular. It's kind of hard. I mean, I guess you could put him in the Weird Al kind of realm.
Yeah, I guess he was kind of, it might have been like the UK's answer to Weird Al at the time in the 80s. But he had a big papier-mâché head that nobody ever saw his face. Frank Sidebottom was this guy who had a giant papier-mâché head. And they made a movie called Frank with Michael Fassbender in it that wasn't anything to do with Frank Sidebottom, but they used the head. Which was
not even the actual head, like a slightly different, slightly smaller version.
Yeah, a slightly less surreal looking, which is like, it's like we got to tone this papier-mâché head back a little bit. Like it's a bit unsettling. But in that film,
unsettling. I've seen. I was gonna say I've seen him in person. I think you did as well, didn't you?
Oh, we both saw the real Frank Sidebottom. Live when he was pissed off his skull on stage, falling around, struggling to keep that papier-mâché head on.
Oh, that's one of my favourite moments at a gig was when he fell over trying to take his trousers off because he has a football kit underneath, and because of the head, he couldn't solve the problem, so he was rolling around trying to get the pants off desperately because he couldn't get back up.
In my 30 years on the job, this papier-mâché head has never steered me wrong.
It's part of the show. It's what he would have wanted.
R.I.P.
Press F.
But within that, so the movie Frank is about like Donald Gleason, just kind of like wants to be a musician, randomly joins this band, fronted by a guy called Frank, who played by Michael Fassbender, has the papier-mâché head on all the time, never ever ever takes it off. They don't know what he looks like underneath, and it basically they go out and like record an album in a very Captain Beefheart, like we're just going wild in a cottage for like a couple of months, just coming up with a crazy experimental album and stuff. But in there, Maggie Gyllenhaal is also in that film. She's like the synth player, and she's a bit protective and a bit what do they call it, gatekeepery of Frank.
Yeah,
she's a bit jealous that Donald Gleason's come in, taking attention away from her. And you watch that, and then the ending lesson of Frank. I would recommend everyone watch it. It's a really, really great film. It's very. Reason I rewatched it because I recently was talking to our frequent guest, Clarice Lockery, and she loves the film because she herself is on the spectrum, and she's like, this film speaks to me because the character of Frank is so blatantly supposed to be a portrayal of an autistic character. They never say it outright, but that's what you're supposed to take away from it. And
I can see that.
The end lesson of the film is that like they try. Donald Gleason tries to make them like a mainstream successful act, but Frank can't take that. Like that's just not in his wheelhouse. He's just like he's not actually interested in musical success. So at the end, it kind of ends with him being like, no, we're just gonna go back to like the little small venues we're playing where we're just me, Maggie Gyllenhaal, and the two other weirdos in the band are just kind of making weirdo art that like maybe 5 people will like. And
good.
The lesson is you don't have to be successful for your art to mean something. It just has to mean something to you. And
agreed.
You watch that and you're like, oh, that's Maggie Gyllenhaal's in that. And then thinking like, oh yeah, she was also in, of course, Cecil B. Demented way back in the day. The weirdo,
yeah, one of my faves.
Yeah, the weirdo little John Waters guerrilla filmmakers, which is a very niche movie about kind of a little weirdo little troupe making their own artistic statements and stuff like that. And you kind of realize
holes.
Yes, yeah. And you realize like, oh, that's Maggie Gyllenhaal's vibe, I think she sees herself as this type of artist. And that's what The Bride should be. It should be like this was made for 10 grand and it stars no one you've ever heard of. And it finds a very niche audience and people are like, amazing, loved it, film of the year. But instead, because she is Maggie Gyllenhaal and she has all this cultural cachet and a lot of like in Hollywood clout, they gave her $90 million to make it, and they splashed it everywhere. And then the world showed up, and they were like, "What the hell is this?"
You're totally right. If it was low budget, sort of a little bit gritty, undergroundy, perfect.
Yeah,
perfect. That is what this story requires. This story is not a blockbuster, and I don't mean that as an insult. I actually mean that in a positive way. You know, give it a John Waters budget, maybe a little bit more than that. You know, this is
kind of like it's like, you know, if they went and made like, you know, Kenneth Anger's Scorpio Rising with Leonardo DiCaprio. And it's like, what is this thing? Like, why are you playing this in every multiplex across the world? Like,
that's the thing. That's what causes the issue here. Definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, you can make this cheap and still make it look good. You know, but you don't need big names in it. Well, I think he's good in the role, right? But why is well in some ways? But why is Christian Bale in this movie?
Maybe Maggie just was like, yeah, I've always wanted to work with him again because
maybe we
made that one movie together. You know?
And he's sometimes great in this, and then sometimes he just sounds like Christian Bale. And you're like, your accent's slipping.
Oh yeah, but also why is he English? Like because like I'm playing him as a Cockney, like. What? And he keeps mentioning he's like Swedish or something, right? He keeps saying like,
no, he's Swiss in this one.
Swiss.
Then, which I actually was. I was like, okay, it's been that long since I've read the book. Is he Swiss? I thought he was German.
I thought he was German too. But then I think the movies and stuff just gonna buck wild, and they're like, yeah, it's set out in Austria, or said like, oh, this one, yeah, he's in France now. Like, it's just like I think a lot of American directors are just like, it just has to be over in middle, you know, borderline medieval Europe somewhere, you know.
Yeah, one of those places, Germany, Switzerland, Belgium, they're all the same.
Just that general, you know, EU area over there. Sometimes it's England. You know, you're just like, hey, he's living in England now.
Wow,
but yeah,
wow. I don't mind his voice being a bit English though, to be honest, because again, you know, he's I don't know, he's had to somehow teach himself to speak, and I guess it depends who was around him. Like, we don't know how his creator spoke in this universe. He might have had a posh English accent, because, you know, a lot of Germans from his era would have learnt by coming over to England rather than in Germany.
I'm kind of wish there was a hard Cockney, like Victor Frankenstein, that were Jason Statham as Victor Frankenstein.
Oh my God, yes, please, yes, it has to happen.
I'm disgusted
sorry,
by my
I need to
creation.
interrupt. My neighbours have just started drilling.
Oh, okay. They're building their own monster in there.
That's staying in now. That's staying in. Yeah, hopefully that doesn't turn up on the audio.
No, I cannot hear anything on my end, so like I think fingers crossed we're okay.
Okay, good. But yeah, I mean, him being in the movie's weird. Even when his accent's good, it's very strange he's in the movie. I mean, Jesse Buckley, okay, that makes a bit of sense.
I will say, a lot of it does feel like there's a lot of... it's like Maggie and her friends. Again, it has a kind of like, it's like the troupe coming together. Because it's like, my old friend Christian Bale's in this. I loved working with Jessie in The Lost Daughter, so gotta get her back. My husband's in it. My brother's in it. Like, it feels like, I'm filling this up with my friends, basically. Which nothing wrong when that's, John Waters' project. And he's just like,
I support that.
If this was Mink Stoll as the Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah. Now we're talking. Can we get John on the phone? We need to sort this out with him right now. Imagine his version of this.
I feel like apparently he can't get the financing for anything these days, because I know he wrote that book. Yeah, he wrote that book, The Liar Mouth, which was, his first novel, and he's like, I want to make this into a movie, and I'm dying for Aubrey Plaza to play the lead character, and Aubrey Plaza was out there going, I will play, yes, 100% I'll play that character, and then he said to come out, and he's like, no studio is interested, no one will finance it.
That's nuts. That's ridiculous.
And I've read the book. There's nothing expensive in there. Like, you could make it for $2 million, probably, in modern Hollywood.
But instead, Niall, they've got to fund this. That sounded mean. So
you could have taken the catering budget for The Bride and given it to John Waters. But no.
It probably would cover it. Probably would, wouldn't it?
I do wonder if it was like... There was some sort of... Because that was... I think The Joker, too, might have been $200 million. I think maybe that's where I'm getting that budget from. Because I do know that Todd Phillips took $20 million as his payday, as did Joaquin Phoenix. And then I think Gaga took $10 million. Which,
there's a bit more going on in that, though, like visually, I suppose.
But I feel, though, my theory with Joker 2, because no one's heard a peep from Todd Phillips since, is that he was sort of cornered into directing it. Made a thing like, I'll do it if you give me $20 million, and then they did, and he's like, and then
now I've got to do it.
And now he's got like, I'm set. Like, I've got $20 million. Like, I don't need to do anything ever again, and that's why he's able to go like, I made this very serious, not the film that anyone was expecting, and it's a weirdo experimental musical. But it was also kind of like, smacking the face of the people who loved the first Joker movie. And you can just deal with that. See, I got my $20 million, bye.
I respect it. I'll always respect that. That's why I like Gremlins too, because it's the same thing, isn't it? They said to him, make a sequel, and he's like, no, that's stupid. The only way I'll do it is if you let me do whatever I want and make fun of the first one. And they're like, okay.
Yeah. I like to get Tim Burton with Batman Returns. It's like, you get full creative control this time, Tim. Like, are you sure? Are you sure that you want me to have? Which, of course, we do get the kind of Batman Returns energy in this, because the freaking bride spewing black goo out of her mouth all the time. So.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love that. Right, I'm going to read the basic synopsis here, just so we can then talk about anything we want.
Yes.
It says, a lonely Frankenstein travels to 1930s Chicago. Apparently.
It kind of insinuates he has like a time machine or something, which, 100%. He's just there like, there was another movie called Frankenstein versus H.G. Wells or something.
Oh, yes.
And he's just like, at the end, he won.
Time-traveling Frankenstein.
At the end, he won. And then now he's just like, well, I'll take a spin. And then he just goes to 1930 Chicago.
And he rights wrongs, a bit like Quantum Leap.
It's like, I feel like we've already come up with a better project than The Bride.
But it says he goes there to ask groundbreaking scientist Dr. Euphronius. I assume it's a reference to the Bride of Frankenstein's Pretorius, but I don't know. I'll ask you about that in a minute. To create a companion for him. The two revive a murdered young woman, and the bride is born. What ensues is beyond what either of them imagined, igniting a combustible romance, the attention of the police, and a wild and radical cultural movement.
With sexy results.
With sex, well, it's a pretty horny movie. It's a pretty horny movie.
Yeah.
Oh, mostly from her side. Like, Frank's not even... Frank's a bit... He's grey ace. He's like, well, if you want me to do that, I'm down. But
I know
there's other stuff we can do as well. We can watch a movie.
we can do hand stuff. We can do hand.
yeah. He'll give it a go. He's not ruling it out.
Well, that was the thing. Like, there's a bit where I don't know, because I know they had to cut some stuff. Like they were insistent on like, you gotta get rid of him licking black vomit off her neck and all this other stuff, which is
whoa, no, hang on, I need this in the movie.
Well, I kind of feel like that is sort of in the movie. There's bits where he's basically doing that. But I
want it to be really like kinky, like that. And I'm someone who doesn't like sex in movies that much. But imagine that would be cool.
Well, I got the vibe though that like when they start to have sex, that he doesn't have a penis. That was the thing I got. Like she kind of puts her hand down there, and there's just nothing. I don't know if they had a scene where there was Frank and Dick. But I got the vibe that it was like, no, she puts her hand down there, and he's like a Ken doll. Like it's just like, my creator didn't bestow. Victor Frankenstein's whole thing is like, if mine can't be big, I'll make a man with none. And see how that works.
That's interesting because I've only seen it the once, so maybe I just didn't notice that. Because I would think that would be a plot point that would come up at some point, so to speak. Maybe even with the doctor, like because she when he asks for a mate, she's like, oh, but for physical stuff, and he's like, well, no, other things too. But maybe it could have been a big problem, or not a problem. It gets revealed, and she's like, I don't care.
It's like
you can still lick my black goo.
He's spent like 100+ years traveling to like all other times of the future, getting like the dirtiest porn imaginable. And he's just like, nothing's doing it for me anymore. I need an actual partner. Like it can't just be me and my wrist tonight, Like it's gotta be something.
That seemed to be the implication. He's like, look, I've worn that thing out.
The stitches are coming off. It's like,
yeah, that's the thing. That's what I thought of immediately. Like, he's maybe been. Spending a bit too much time on his own. He's like, look, there's got to be more than just the physical. Come on.
I will say though, like he's not all that hideous though. Like I guess he is, but he's still kind of like, well, he's still Christian Bale though. And Christian Bale he's hot. So
yeah, he's one of the more handsome Franks, I would say. He's not too ugly. People do react to him like he is an absolute freak, but I think once he's got the hat over his stitches and that, he doesn't look bad.
Yeah.
His nose is a bit wonky but you could say he was a boxer, couldn't he? He could say, I used to be a boxer.
Yeah, but particularly in 1930 Chicago, it was just like, let's go down and see me fighting, Reggie the Pug or something. Yeah, see me there tonight.
Fighting Handsome Mo.
And then finally just Mo. But I will say on the flip though, like, so I think he's like, oh yeah, I can imagine he could still hook up with someone because he's not that bad looking. On the flip of that though, like Jessie Buckley's character is like gorgeous to me. Like she is attractive. So stunningly beautiful. Like at no point is there ever like, oh yeah, they created a monster. It's like, no, she is just like one of the most beautiful on-screen presences I've seen in years. Like she looks amazing.
She looks so cool. The hair's great as well, like a nod to the old school, but not just ripping it off. She looks incredible. I really wanted to say I can't wait to see everyone do this for Halloween, but I don't think they're gonna.
Well, I
don't know. Maybe if it hits with the weirdo, with the freaks, maybe.
Well, that's the thing though, because it's now morphed from a thing of like, oh boy, everybody's going to be doing this at Halloween, to being like, oh, I can do this at Halloween because no one else will be. Like, it's going to be open season on doing The Bride as a costume,
No, this is going to be my costume if I remember by that time. Oh my god, I can do this! I've got the makeup.
Yeah, and she's like,
I'm already one step ahead.
There was times in the theater where I was like, I cannot wait for this to be on digital because there's certain frames of her. The way that, because the camera loves her as well, and it's like there's certain shots that I can't wait to draw that because she just looks, this will just be doing like a random angle, and you're like, oh, that's a painting, what you've done there. So and it's the makeup, it's like the weird like it's a filmic kind of you just have to go like whatever because she once she's reborn she spews all the black goo out. And somehow...
I like that it doesn't try and explain that, though. Because you could say, oh, it's bile or whatever, but it's clearly like something more mystical.
Well, I think Annette Bening, she says at one point, like, oh, I've seen the crystalline fluid has stained your skin. Which is, I think...
Yeah, I didn't know if that was right or not.
I'm assuming it's just like whatever the stuff that gives you life is that. Like, it's just, you inject that into the corpses and then, hey, they're great, you know?
And that's all you need, though. That's all you need is that one line.
Yeah.
I don't need some kind of 10-minute scene of figuring out what's going on and explaining to Frank what's happening to her. No, don't need it. It just looks cool. Yeah. I tried to do that the other day at a gig in the style of Bowie and Boys Keep Swinging when he smears his makeup. It didn't work. Yeah.
Oh, this feels too. You find out that like, oh no, this was like an hour, and oh no, I did. I think I read somewhere that like Christian Bale's makeup took like 6 hours every day.
Oh Jesus!
And then Jessie Buckley's took like 90 minutes or something. Imagine she's like, I had a great time making it, and then Christian Bale's like, I hated every second of it on this thing.
Well, that's the thing, because her look, we're saying how amazing it is, and it is, but it's quite simple. It's it's just slightly pale, sort of white eyebrows, and then the black. Well, I'm going to say smeared lipstick, but it's meant to be what's come out of her body. Well, that's sort of it.
Yeah, I think what I love though is the fact that like she still has like a little Cupid's bow, kind of little heart, perfect lipstick, but then also the smear at the side. So it's kind of like one of those filmic things of being like, oh, it just so happened to come out as a perfect lipstick as well, rather than just being like, you know, a mound of goo attached to the side of her face.
I love that, though. That's the kind of things that work in this. It doesn't matter that it sort of doesn't make sense. It's better that it doesn't. I
will also say, too, that, like, just her in general in it. It's like, Christian Bale as Frank, I'm like, he's fine. You know, I can imagine many other actors who could have done this, and they would have been as good as Christian Bale. He doesn't particularly shine in it for me.
Yeah, when he's good, right, he's great. But then sometimes, like, when he starts screaming, it just sounds like the Bale Terminator memes. So it's a bit weird. It's a bit weird sometimes.
As at the end of his, like, the prequel version of Frankenstein, this is just, like, Victor Frankenstein dying out on the ice, and him being like, you and me are done professionally, man. It's like...
Yeah, it's a shame, because when he's good, he's great. Like, you like Frank, you connect with him.
Let's imagine him though, like in the lab, going, "You want me to fucking trash your lights?" Just like, but like, "Oh, I've created a monster." He just keeps breaking all the lights down for some reason.
Well, it kind of is the story of Frankenstein. Yeah. Well, no, that's what he thinks the monster is, but he's not. But you know.
But Christian Bale's like, yeah, he's. But you know, you could put like a dozen other guys in there. You could put like Javier Bardem or someone in. And I'll be like, yeah, sure.
Ooh, I'd like to see that.
But Jessie Buckley is just like, oh, this is like phenomenal. Like, I love, like, even when she's doing all the kind of Mary Shelley stuff, she's just, every scene, to me anyway, I don't know how you feel, but like when she keeps switching from like the 30s gangster mall voice into the Mary Shelley voice, and she's just so high energy all the time, and she's doing random little like twitches, and like it's kind of evoking the kind of bird-like movements that Elsa Lanchester was doing, but also a bit
100% what she's doing. I love that they've put that in there.
Yeah. And I just like, I don't know, she's getting a lot of praise at the minute, Jessie Buckley, because she just won an Oscar for a performance in Hamnet that I was very like, yeah, sure, yeah, she could do that.
Oh, I know you didn't like the movie, but you didn't really like the performance.
Well, it's not like she could do that in her. I've seen her in a lot of stuff. I've been on as an Irishman. I've been on the Jessie Buckley fan train for a while. And I've seen her in a lot of stuff where I've been like, yeah, this lady's great. So then when Hamnet came and went, and I was just like, yeah, I mean, yeah, she could, yeah, that's not out of her wheelhouse to do that. But with this, I'm like, this is the Jessie Buckley I say, which is so strange because one of the people who I saw kind of poo-pooing her was one of our friends of the show. I won't name any names. But I remember he was just like, yeah, she's too prim and proper an actress to pull off a character this wild, which to me was wild because I feel like he must have only seen her in like the Oscars lead up or something, like interviewed. Because the Jessie Buckley I've known throughout the years is like her constantly like showing up to the interviews on like a clattering bike, laughing away, wild curly ginger hair, and then talking about like, oh, I bought a house. and it's got like a W in pig's blood on the chimney to stop the witches from coming down. It's from the 1500s. And she's always coming out with this random crazy crap that she's been up to. And she just seems like such a genuine, kind of eccentric, like very just open, full-hearted, boisterous kind of person. So then when I saw her on the Oscars trail, I felt a lot like the PR people were like, straighten that hair. Stop doing that one-sided smile that you're always doing. Fucking get your
Cut
lips.
those sideburns.
Trim those sideburns, yeah. And then, so for someone to come out and be like, she's too prim and proper to play this character, I'm like, have you been seeing the same Jessie Buckley as me? This feels like it's exactly the type of role she's born to play. But I guess if you only know her from like the Hamnet Oscar campaign, where she was very like, this is a very serious film, and you might think that like, yeah, that she was, you know, quite a respectable, you know, from a rich family and went to RADA and all this sort of thing.
Well, even if she was, and she did, right? Even if that was the case, she proved the naysayers wrong.
Yeah.
You can't fault her in the movie.
Mm.
I don't like the Mary Shelley stuff, but that's not her fault.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have it in there. I think the voice is a bit dumb, but again, it's not up to... She does something, and then the director says, yeah, okay. The way she switches is great.
Mm.
It's effortless. She's really, really good at just flipping between the two, because sometimes it's like she'll flip back and forth like 4 times in a sentence.
Yeah. Well, I feel the problem is again, Maggie Gyllenhaal's gone like, I'm not putting words in Mary Shelley's mouth, but I 100% am. And also, near enough, everything she says makes her come across like a crazed, drunken psychopath. She's just spouting a lot of gibberish a lot of the time. And you're like, that feels like it's like a disrespectful to Mary Shelley. And
absolutely is.
Yeah. So like all these times, then it just seems like, yeah, she's just sort of doing these very, you know, a lot of spasming and just a lot of sort of like just come out with a lot of very like, God forbid to evoke this guy's name, but it kind of reminded me of like when you'd see Russell Brand interviewed, and he always just goes on these like really egregiously long, pretentious word salad sentences. Where he that's kind of make him sound intelligent, but it's also just like a lot of just gibberish in there as well, where he's just like, yeah, I just want to sound like I'm really well read and stuff.
That's what it is. It's to create a kind of illusion of intelligence.
Yeah, but and things like this as well. In that, like, I know I was reading a piece there that was saying that like, you know, Gyllenhaal's going like, okay, so I want like, I'm assuming that Mary Shelley had to write a male focused novel because of the time and stuff like that. She wouldn't have got away with writing, you know, a female led novel. This is the time of like, you know, Jane Austen and stuff. I'm pretty sure she could have just written a female character if she wanted to. But she's also like, yeah, so she's clearly, if she was writing The Bride of Frankenstein, she would want her to have a lot more voice and a lot more agency and stuff like that. Which is a whole thing. We have to put a giant pin in that in terms of her agency throughout the film. Because it's kind of like a bit of a muddled point, I feel. But it's also the thing of like, so this is what Mary Shelley would have loved to have done. Whereas some people will point out that like Frankenstein the book, which I think in the film Mary Shelley calls like, you know, the stifled paucity of what I was allowed to get away with.
Yeah, I think that's a line I've written down here, yeah.
Yeah. But stifled paucity is like, Frankenstein the book is wild. Like it's for the time, it was taking massive swings. And even today you're like, wow, this is really crazy stuff
I think this is trying to say it would have been even wilder if she could have done it the way she wanted, which she could. We know she could.
But then there's even things too, like, oh, she, if only she had a female character to speak through. And it's like, a lot of people would interpret like, well, the around the time of Frankenstein, you know, Mary Shelley had a child, and then the child died. And she had written all these correspondence to Shelley about them, like, I've had dreams about, like, trying to resurrect the baby and stuff, and, like, wanting to bring life back into the dead and all this kind of stuff. So, and then a lot of that's just like, well, I feel like she was working through some stuff through the character of Victor Frankenstein. So it's one of those kind of things of like, a woman needs to speak through a female character, which is very limiting. I feel like, no, women can speak through male characters, males can speak through female characters. Like, it doesn't... I feel like that's a bit of a juvenile thing that Maggie Gyllenhaal's done, and this sort of like
definitely,
here comes the mother effing bride, like all this sort of stuff. Like we're supposed to be adults in the room here. Like we don't not everything has to be so black and white,
No, I'm totally with you. Yeah, that's how I always sort of viewed it myself. I don't think she felt like she had to. Again, maybe I'm putting words in their mouth. I don't think she felt like she had to have a male lead and a male monster and whatnot. Plus, you got to put it in the context of the time as well. Like, women wouldn't have been really doing those jobs.
Yeah.
So you couldn't like make Victor a woman. And the bride aspect, that's not. I mean, that's only. Well, I'm trying to remember from the book. That's only mentioned, isn't it? He brings it up.
Oh no, he actually makes. He does make a bride.
Oh, does he? See, it's been that long.
But but upon like having stitched all the parts together, he's like, "Oh no! If I was to actually bring life to this, it could be even worse." So he's just like he just takes out like an axe or something. He's just like, "Nope," and just starts chopping up the body again. And then the monster comes in and is like, "What the hell are you doing, man?" But,
yeah, that is quite sad. Actually, I forgot all about that. Wow, why is that never in a movie? I'm sure it's in one of the 800,000 versions.
Yeah. Well, the thing was that Kenneth Branagh had Helena Bonham Carter plays Elizabeth, and the monster kills her, and then Victor brings her back as a bride for him, I think. And there's a bit of Helena Bonham Carter going around, kind of like, like kind of like she's brain dead, kind of, and it's all very. And then you're just there, being like, "Man, I thought you said this was going to be like the most accurate version of Frankenstein." I feel like every director has this thing of been like, "I'm doing Frankenstein properly," and then they always go off and do something like, "No, actually, no, I'm just doing my own thing." Like even Del Toro.
The new one was pretty close. Close.
I feel like Del Toro though is like it very much is. Once it comes to Elizabeth, people haven't seen the Del Toro Frankenstein. It's excellent. But it is very much like, oh yeah, Elizabeth's all into insects, and her and the monster are having a romance. And also Victor's kind of becomes a bit of a one note, like, I just hate this thing, and then the monster's purely innocent. It's a pure like, no, I just want everyone to be nice and everyone to like me. And then Victor's just the bad guy, and Elizabeth's just like having kind of like wants to be with the monster. That's all very exclusively Del Toro to me. And looking at his
Shape of Water kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. And it's just like, well, it's like, oh, of course he would make that. Yeah, that's his interpretation. He loves monsters. He sees himself through the monstrous characters in his films all the time. Of course, this is his way.
He's a furry.
Yeah, basically. Whereas, some people will be like, well, speaking of Michael Fassbender with Frank, the ultimate version of Frankenstein is almost like Prometheus, because, it's Frankenstein, the modern Prometheus. Whereas Michael Fassbender's character is just like, yes, you made me, and then everyone treats me like crap, so I'm going to be this horrible, vindictive asshole out of revenge, basically, because if, as the monster says, if I cannot inspire love, then I will inspire fear. And
it's such a good line, that, yeah.
Yeah. And I guess there's kind of a, well, is there any of that in here? Like, it's just, Frank's just like, if I,
No. I mean, they go on a bit of a, I don't want to say even a crime spree. It's not even that. They're wanted, but it's never for anything particularly, bad. They've not been particularly fierce. So, they kill a guy, but it's dare I say, it's justified.
I also just thought potentially better tagline would have been, they probably used it for something else. But instead of "Here comes the mother effing bride," would be just like "wanted, undead or alive." Would be like,
oh, that's great.
Yeah,
there you
go. Someone's bound to have used that for a tagline somewhere already.
That would have been so cool. I would have really liked that. But no, none of that's really in this that I can think of off the top of my head.
It's more like Frank coming in like, if I cannot inspire love, I'll just come and ask and headbanging, go, please, just.
She's an interesting character, the Doctor. Because her whole bit, at the very beginning where he comes in, that's a really good scene, actually, where he comes and speaks to her for the first time. I really liked that.
Yeah.
But she doesn't want to do it. And then she ends up doing it. But she seems to, figure it out very quickly, how to make a woman. They do a bit of a twist as well. It's just one body, rather than chopped up parts like he is.
Like there's a lot of stuff. I feel I don't know if it's supposed to be that the weird penguin blackjack goo is something that she's created, because it feels at the end it's just like, oh, this thing will just you can. It's like the Reanimator reagent. People have seen Reanimator. Jeffrey Combs injecting that green stuff in the anything. You can shoot a thing in the head, inject that in, it'll come back to life. At the end of the movie, spoilers, Frank gets shot in the head. Like, he's shot in through the brain, and yet they're still able to resurrect him. I was like, I thought my understanding of Frankenstein stuff is that, no, you need like a fresh new, the whole first movie is like, we put in a criminal brain by mistake, because the other one, it's like, you tell me now Fritz in that movie dropped the original brain. He could have just picked it up and put it in anyway, because it'll still be fine. Like, I don't know, at the end they all get riddled with bullets. And yet it ends on the note of like, no, they've been resurrected. And you're like, but I thought the bodies have been destroyed. Like, that was the whole point.
That's a good point.
Yeah, this didn't make any sense to me.
Does it actually go in his head?
I'm pretty sure he gets shot in the back of the head, yeah.
Let me see.
He's going to have to go with the bride minute by minute to find out.
It'll take me ages to scroll through and find it. If it is the head, I don't like that. Because I just instinctively thought, oh, well, he's Frankenstein. He can take punishment. He just got shot loads and he's fine. If it's the head, though, because he's sort of zombie adjacent, isn't he? Kill the brain kind of thing. He's sort of a zombie.
It's like, the movie's Batman adjacent, but he himself is zombie adjacent.
Yeah. We've got to map this out. Let's get a graph going. Come on.
Yeah, but I had that whole thing of just like, at the end, it's like, you could literally have it down to like, chop them into a fine powder, and yet you would just spill some of that black goo in them, and then they'll come back to life, I guess. It was very like
interesting.
Yeah,
I don't like that. Because I thought the goo stuff, maybe she did create it, but it's part of the process. Like you use the goo, you use electricity, you have to have all the parts. It's like one step.
Yeah. You put the goo in. You electrify the goo, I guess.
There you go. And also, all that bit at the beginning. Am I just looking for things because I want them to be there, right? Because this movie in general, despite being set in the 30s, it feels modern. And it feels queer, even though it's a straight relationship.
Yes.
Does the doctor have is the maid? Who is the maid?
The maid, Greta, I believe her name is. There's a lot of...
Who is it?
Like the actress who plays her, you mean?
Yes.
I looked her up, and she didn't... There was nothing in there that made her pop to me. Had been like, oh yeah. I did think she looked very similar to in City of Lost Children. There was the octopus, the twin ladies. I thought it was her initially, and then I looked her up, and I was like, no, it's just it's some other lady apparently.
I've got her up here. Yeah, because what I'm thinking is like the makeup and stuff they've got on her. Like they're trying to make her look like a drag queen or something. It's nuts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everything about Frankenstein itself is inherently quite queer. Like the whole man creating life without women kind of thing. But particularly, obviously, because the Universal Frankenstein movies, the James Whale ones. Obviously, James Whale, as people who listen to the 66 show, friend of Alan Napier, James Whale, openly gay man for back in the 30s, which was, a big deal. And of course then, the original Bride of Frankenstein, which is so weird because this film is almost like it's almost like it's dialing things back a little bit, because like, oh yeah, Victor Frankenstein, or in that he's called Henry. I never understood why they called him Henry in the films rather than Victor.
No. Why would you do that? What's the purpose?
Yeah, so Victor Frankenstein is like, he's conquered death. He is the victor. Like, it's one of those sort of like, Victor's the guy who conquered death. But like, and then Henry's like, it's just the name. We'll go on that now. But him and Dr. Pretorius, who, again, if people haven't seen The Bride of Frankenstein, Dr. Pretorius is my favorite. He's
thing. Incredible. Now, I've gone on record of saying I don't like his experiments with the tiny people in jars, but they reference it in this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's it. Everything about Dr. Pretorius, because he's just, we have this really uptight, Mr. Burns-ish, very kind of, I want to call him prissy. He's quite prissy, I guess, but like,
yeah, I think that's right.
But yeah, he's just this malignant guy who comes in like, help me. Yes, you will help me to create life again, Victor. Or Henry, sorry. And the way everyone keeps, like, whenever he announces himself, everyone keeps having to say Pretorius all the time. Like,
Dr. Pretorius!
I guess I am Dr. Pretorius. Dr. Pretorius! This Dr. Frankenstein, that queer Dr. Pretorius is at the door. Dr. Pretorius.
And she means it both ways.
Yes. But the whole film, it's like, oh, it's two men creating life. Like, it's a whole thing of it. It's like, yeah, it's a queer allegory.
And Pretorius is very camp.
Oh, I've seen pictures of that guy. I think it's Ernest Thelsinger, you called him? Flat out in drag. Like, he was an openly gay actor back in the day.
Doesn't shock me one bit. He's got the face for drag.
Yes, yeah. Actually, he's also in The Old Dark House, the James Whale movie. Amazing in that as well. Like, he was like one of those...
I actually haven't seen that one.
Oh, it's great. And it's also very queer-coded. There's like, there's this old man who's played by an old lady. Like an old lady with a fake beard. And you're just like...
Brilliant.
It's James Whale just doing... It's like, James Whale, great film. Great filmmaker. Again, Bride of Frankenstein, can't recommend it enough. Like, a fantastic film. Yeah.
It's very ahead of its time in lots of ways. It holds up.
Yeah.
Which is astonishing. A lot of those movies do. I think the one that holds up in one of the best ways is The Invisible Man. It's really fast-paced. For a 30s film, because, sometimes they're a bit slow and plodding and, there's not a lot of cuts and things. Not The Invisible Man. No, it feels really new.
It literally just gets in. It's like, he's already invisible. And he's already he's already at antics. Like, he's doing it the whole way through.
It's great.
But yeah, have that be your allegory for, like, at the time being like a major film release, like one of the biggest hits of the day and stuff. It's like, oh, everyone's going to see The Bride of Frankenstein. And then this one, so it's like, yeah, a man and a woman create life. It's like, oh, it feels like you're gonna what? I don't know why it has to change from Dr. Pretorius. Like, why couldn't it just be? I think you mentioned the name, or it's like Dr. Cornelia Euphorius or something like that. Like, it's...
hang on, I've got it written down somewhere, yeah. Euphronius.
And I'm sure, like, maybe there's some sort of, like, reference to, like, ancient Greek culture as why they've chosen that name. But, like, you would have made my day if it was just, like...
gender-swapped Pretorius.
You could have Annette Bening play him as a guy. Like, just have Annette Bening as Dr. Pretorius, like the male character Dr. Pretorius. And I'd 100% get on board with that. I will say, though, I feel like I've not seen anything to support it, but seeing as how much of this movie is like, oh, I just got in all my friends, I'd be willing to bet that character was written for Olivia Colman.
Absolutely.
And then she couldn't do it, so they just got Annette Bening in.
I could see that.
Because no offense to Annette Bening, but it's like, this kind of feels like, yeah, we didn't get the Pretorius we wanted, and we didn't get the Euphronius we wanted, really, even though he's perfectly good in the film as well.
Euphronius. Nah, I'm with you. It should be Pretorius. It should be. I don't know why you change it. It's so peculiar.
And it should be Pretorius, and then every time someone says the name, people have to say Dr. Pretorius, like, as if it's the most outrageous thing they've ever heard.
But even despite all that, there's something about this movie that feels queer to me. And not just because Fever Ray do a musical number.
Oh, yeah. Maybe that's what made it feel a bit modern, too. Is it's like, oh, it's Fever Ray. It's just popped up out of nowhere. So.
Yeah, and not just, like, in the movie playing a band. No, just doing a Fever Ray song, which is so out of place. So out of place.
Well, that also...
But I kind of love that it's out of place, though. I love that they don't care.
Well, I think that is... It does go into some, like, real sheer... We just don't care. We just don't get, like, we're just doing whatever. Like, but I think the exact moment where I was just like, what is happening? Is when they go in and they do the Young Frankenstein reference in that nightclub where they perform Putting on the Ritz. And it seems to be like they're controlling the dancers or something. Like they're telekinetic now. And I'm like,
it's not meant to be literal,
But then, like, what is meant to be literal and not literal in this thing is very, like...
Yeah, true.
But I remember after that point being like, oh, I'm kind of losing track of what this film is at the minute. You know, it's sort of because it's like after that then, and maybe this was intentional and maybe it wasn't, but it's a bit muddled in that all the cops storm in after that scene, and you're just like, so are they telekinetic or not? Why can't they just telekinetic the cops to dance and then leave like it's like the Blues?
Oh, that would be cool, wouldn't it?
But then she goes on a big like tirade that's also kind of like, what are we saying? Like, the dead have something to say, etc., etc. And you're like, what? And then she pretty kind of accidentally shoots a cop. And then even in the film that has kind of ACAB energy, that cop is just like doing his job, though. He's not like a bad cop. He's just a guy who's there, who's just trying to...
Well, as you say, though, it's an accident. She's not...
Yeah.
It actually is an accident. You feel bad for that.
But then after that, they become these like folk heroes. And then all the women start rising up and putting on the makeup. And
I like that.
But I was also a bit confused because like, is it supposed to be some sort of thing of like, she didn't... none of that was intentional, but people are taking it as being like let's rise up and take down, the man. Like
yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. Like they've misinterpreted what happened, maybe turned it into something a little bit good.
Yeah,
but
I guess it's I
think it's a bit Joker again. First Joker.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Like I guess it's kind of like in the same way that people misinterpreted. But I think Arthur Fleck was I don't know if he was directly trying to inspire people to rise up.
No,
but then this feels more like he was just I need to vent on this asshole Robert De Niro, basically at the end. And people are kind of like, yeah, I agree. And then this is more like sheer accident. Like, did not mean to kill that cop at all, but hey, everyone else is now going out and causing riots and stuff. And it's like, but they're all women and they're all wearing the same face makeup as me. And it's like, I'm not really doing anything. I'm just here. It's like very like, was it supposed to be more that she is literally whipping up a righteous, fury, or was it? And again, there's so much little things like that pin I was putting in earlier about like her character having agency, because there's a lot of symbolism in terms of like the black goo is like, we're giving voice to. So Mary Shelley wrote this character, and then the character was in The Bride of Frankenstein, but voiceless. Elsa Lanchester as the bride does not get any lines, but obviously Mary Shelley writes with ink. And then all of a sudden she possesses this body, and then the body spews black goo that looks like ink, and it's literally, and she's speaking through her. All this.
Oh my god! I didn't think of that. Holy crap! I think you've got it.
Oh, there was something like that because it's black ink around the mouth, and then notably, it's like there's a big patch of it on 2 fingers, which looks like the fingers you would use to like pleasure yourself as well. It's like, is that an intentional statement, or was that like a... Well, I guess you'd be writing with the fingers as well. Like, maybe, am I dirty for thinking of that? Am I more juvenile?
No, I think that they throw in lots of little dirty things. That wouldn't shock me at all. There's loads of great, like, little dirty bits. I mean, my favourite one is there's a line, I can't remember what Frank says, but he notices a leg. And she says to him, "Is that your kink? One leg shorter than the other?" But she's kind of into it. She's like, "Oh, if that's what you get off on, here you go."
But yeah, so there's the thing though of like, women's agency and like, giving voice to this voiceless character. But then it feels kind of weirdly violating in a way of like Mary Shelley forcing her way into this woman's body, and then it been like, and then like puppeteering her corpse, kinda. And then also there's all this stuff of like the whole movie, Frank is lying to her, like he's obstructing the truth and he's manipulating her. And then also there's several scenes of her almost getting like, essayed. And
that was rough actually. The first one when it's in the club. Ooh.
Yeah. But then Frank's...
a good scene. It's meant to be rough. I'm not saying it's bad, by the way.
But there's also like, Frank is the one who steps in both times to save her. Like she's completely powerless in those scenarios. And it's all very like... For a thing about this lady having agency and stuff, it's like, it feels very muddled. Like, there's no real... it feels like it's a bit too all over the place to message anything, all that. Yeah. It's a real thing. Like, I know what the kids are saying these days is say less. And I feel that's what this film needed, to be like, Maggie, you need to take out like so much stuff here and just focus, just focus on one or two things rather than like, now there's a mob boss and now Penelope Cruz is here. And it's like, okay, fine. What is this going to do with anything?
Well, it's an interesting one, that, because I think a lot of movies would take one or two approaches if they wanted to portray the character in the way you get her at the end. You would either have her saved by Frank the first time, and then the second time she saves herself.
Yeah.
To show that she's grown and she's learned. Or you do the very modern thing, which we're fine with, but some people hate. Frank comes to help her, and she proves she don't need no man.
Yeah.
They're the two approaches most would do, and this doesn't do either, really.
Yeah. It feels like and it's even at the end, I'm sure people will defend this up and down, but it didn't stick for me at the end when eventually all Frank's lies come out, and then she has the whole thing where he asks her to marry him, basically. And she does the little cheeky, I would prefer not to. And he's really like, oh my God, that's the greatest thing. You're so cool. I love you so much.
I loved that. Because in my head, I said that line before it came up. I was like, no. And then she did it. I was like, oh. But then she's not the marrying type, Niall.
But the thing is that, because then she's like, well, I will be, because throughout it then, she's like, she's Ida, she's Mary Shelley. He calls her Penny. Which is like
Penelope, full name, yeah.
Yeah, Penelope. I guess there's little cute little things like Ida is like ID because identity, Ida. Penelope is like, oh, pen, like it's she got all the ink coming out of her mouth, like, so yeah, Penelope.
Yeah. I'm actually happy you brought up that pen thing now, because I literally, while we've been talking, I did Google at one point before you ever mentioned her name. I was like, what the hell could Penelope be a reference to?
It's Penelope Pitstop. She's a massive fan.
Well, maybe
of wacky races.
Why not?
But it's just, and then she's like, but I choose my name to be the bride, but I'm the bride of no one, and I'm like,
of herself,
the bride of it. But that to me is just a bit like a very kind of it's like the whole rest of the movie is both half baked and overcooked. Like it's really like. The bride of, but the calling yourself the bride indicates that you're the bride of something. Like, how can you be the bride of yourself? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's a very like contrived kind of thing. I've been like, if you started off just been called the bride, and at the end she's like, no, my name is Ida or whatever, it'd have been like, yeah,
Well, I'm not saying it's good because my note literally says calling herself the bride, dumb, but. Let's try and figure it out. It could literally be as simple as it's about self-love. She's learned to love herself now. I mean, I say that. She didn't seem to hate herself at the beginning when she was a living person. She seemed she was a wild child, but she's having a good time. Because
Mary Shelley does say that the reason she's able to slip into her is because she's got nothing inside. She's like, she doesn't have much of a personality. She's not much of a person. She's just very complacent, I guess. She just goes with the flow.
She seems pretty cool. I mean, she's a bit of a criminal, but Yeah,
but you find out she's working with she's working undercover with the cops to take down this mob.
Oh, that's true.
So I was like, well, seems like...
That's true. I forgot about that twist.
Yeah.
She's not. Well, so she is sort of a criminal, but she is trying to get out of it. Yeah.
You forget about that twist because also that twist doesn't need to be like when Peter Sarsgaard turns out he knows her. You're like, why? Why do we need more stuff on top of? Why does this hat? I think my initial review, I think I said to you the day I saw it, I was just like, it's a hat on a hat on a hat on a hat, and all the hats are really beautiful and ornate. But Maggie Gyllenhaal is strapped them to her ass for some reason. That's what the movie is.
It's a perfect way of putting it because that really is it. Which I actually respect though. I would rather watch this than a lot of movies. I'd rather watch this than, I don't know, some new Marvel movie. Because at least this is trying something.
Oh, yeah.
Does it always work? No, absolutely not. But it's interesting.
I kind of do wish, though, because, Maggie Gyllenhaal saying, they floated a Marvel at her. If this is what they were doing, if she was like, yeah, I want to make this as a, if this was Captain Marvel 3. I'll be like, it was amazing. Like, how the hell did you do this?
I would like that. Something else I thought of when I was watching it as well, especially around that scene where, the cop tries to assault her. The one who pulls her over, asking for the license and stuff.
He's a guy from the Penguin. That guy. He was one of the gangsters.
I thought he looked familiar.
I think he used to be in. I think he's like a gangster actor. I think he was in Boardwalk.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure we recently dealt with that guy in Penguin. It's like, oh yeah, it's the guy who played one of the Falcons. I think he was in there somewhere.
If you play a gangster once, that's all you do. And I know he's a cop here, but aren't they really the gangsters?
It's like if you accidentally put the word Italian in front of American on your actor CV, you are gonna be getting gangsters the rest of your life.
But yeah, that bit, Frank kills him. She bites his tongue off. Really cool.
Yeah.
But scenes like that did also give me a vibe of like a more normie, dare I say, about this movie, Wild at Heart.
Yeah, it is a bit wild at heart. Yeah, for sure.
Because they're wild at heart. They're two lovers, on the run and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, it had a wild at heart vibe.
A crudely stitched together snakeskin jacket that Annette Bening then brings back to life. It's just like a living snake jacket on top of. Actually, I'm like 100% on board with that idea now that I've said it.
This is incredible. Let's get that made too. We've got lots of ideas for our new dark universe. We're going to bring it back.
I love the fact, too, that everyone involved in the Dark Universe is probably like, people will forget. And it's been like 10 years. And people are still like, when they see, Russell Crowe and Johnny Depp together, like, those assholes.
Remember what they were going to do? Lose us, a lot of them.
Hey, Tom Cruise, how's that mummy 2 coming on, huh?
God. You'd believe it or not, I've still not watched that Mummy.
I thought I keep meaning to get out to the new Mummy as well. The one that they have to specifically call it Lee Cronin's The Mummy because they also announced. The one
you're thinking about the other one as well.
Yeah, because they recently announced that Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz are coming back for Mummy, and the guy himself has said like, yeah, people they had to specify that this is not that, like, because people assume. Oh, the Mummy! Oh, they made it already. Like they announced they're coming back, and a month later, the film's already out in theaters. So they have to go like, no, this is a different. But then a lot of people will be like, who the hell is Lee Cronin? Like, why would that distract me? Like,
True.
I guess that if they bring out that new Mummy with Brendan Fraser, they might have to call it Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz's The Mummy. But.
Please do. Please. Brendan Fraser needs his flowers because everyone liked that whale movie for 5 minutes until they didn't like it. I still never watched it because the backlash was so swift to like, actually, it's really disrespectful to fat people. Blah, blah. I was like, look, I'm just not going to watch it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
It's not the best in the world. It's kind of like over melodramatic to the point of being hilarious at times. But like.
Okay.
But
I suppose the opposite of this, because this is just wild.
Yeah.
It hasn't got a lot of melodrama in it, does it?
I kind of feel like this would be potentially better served if it was like an outright comedy. Because like then I feel like I was sort of like, if it was kind of like a Mel Brooks thing. Like I guess Mel Brooks did do Frankenstein at one point.
Yeah. I think that might help a little bit. Because it is funny. When it's funny, it's funny.
Yeah,
and it's fun, and it's all the crazy bits are the bits I liked. Where he's doing his little dance. Even the first time, he tries to woo her, and he does a cute little dance to, like, get a favor. That's really sweet, and it's like, oh, look at that. Yeah. Anytime they're doing something nuts into all that, the fact Fever Ray are in it. Crazy.
Yeah.
Lean into this stuff. I think you're right. Although I do like some. You could say, like, are they trying to maybe make her kind of both autistic coded and sort of like it's like she's got Tourette's.
I guess you could maybe say that that's like it's like an allegory for a neurodivergent person trying to make their way in the world, and then they're discovering themselves. People.
Yeah.
I think there's like you could say, because I believe like throughout the course of the film, when it first starts off, Mary Shelley is talking to her constantly and talking for her, and then as it goes on, and she apparently somehow finds herself, but I don't really get the vibe. It's just more like she's just been in the body more. But at the end, towards the end, Mary Shelley's barely speaking to her. And at one point, she actually calls out, like, where is Mary Shelley? And then, Mary Shelley comes back from the bar, presumably. And is like, where's your spirit, girl? What are you doing? And it's kind of like, oh, yeah, she was speaking for her previously, but now she's found her agency. And that's when she's like, I am the bride and stuff like that. Even though it was like, the bride of what? The bride of myself. How can you be the bride of yourself? That doesn't make sense.
Because I love myself now, goddammit.
It'd be like at the end of RoboCop, where, it goes from like, oh yeah, he's Murphy the man, they turn him into a machine, property of OCP. RoboCop. And then at the end, he regains his personality, and at the end, it'll be, oh, nice shooting, son. What's your name? And he just turns around and says, property of OCP. Like, you'd be like, what? But I'm declaring myself as property of OCP.
I actually would like that, right? Because it would be a real gut punch. Because you think, oh, he's become a man again. And then at the last minute, no, he's still a machine.
But then having
this actually...
the really righteous music playing.
That'd be great. I'd love it. This has the opposite thing of like... even though I am notorious for loving a depressing end, when I legit thought they were dead, I was writing down, oh, I hate this. This is terrible. And then at the last second, it's like, nah, they're not dead. I was like, yes! I didn't want them to die. They're fun.
Oh, no, they are. Again, no, I find Jessie Buckley so inherently charming in it that I'm like, yeah, I don't want anything bad to happen to her. Again,
absolutely.
Her relationship with Frank, I was just very like, I don't feel the spark between them though. Like,
oh, I did.
I feel he's just into her because he's just like, yeah, you were made for me. Yeah, we're getting on great. And then she's just like, this man is also here, I guess. So at the end, when she like forgives him for everything, and she turns down his proposal, but they're still totally. It's weird because it feels like it was like we have a friend, right? Who, I don't know if you know the story, but they were in a band previously.
A friend!
Of the Spirit.
That is an obscure reference that no one will get unless they listen to our other show.
It's like the Ghost of Miami connection. Miami Minutes possessed John there for a second.
It came up the other day. Like, it was like 4 years ago on this day, and I was posting an episode of that. Like, wow. 4 years ago?
Yeah, man. What? It took us a long time to get through it, because it was one episode a week, so it was 80 weeks. So it was like a long old haul. But feels like forever ago now. It feels like yesterday, but also forever ago. It was
yeah, totally.
But yeah, so like he comes out with all the stuff. She, I guess, forgives him. Whereas feels like
wait though, hang on, we need to go back because I threw you off. You were talking about our friend.
Oh yeah. So they they were writing a song, and I think someone had been to a gig previously and were like, was just an asshole and was like, yeah, your songs are good, but they're all very perfunctory, like, yeah, 3-chord basic songs. And so this guy was like,
wait, this happened in real life?
This happened in real life, yeah. It was Dave and Burns. It wasn't like, Ash or anyone. But it was, then Burns, he took that criticism of them, like, oh, predictable songs, eh? And then he basically was writing a song, and every time he felt like a predictable change was coming up, he just went in the entire different direction. Like,
that can work.
Like almost out of
Beefheart again.
Yeah, okay, it is very Beefheart. I think it was Red State. I think Kevin Smith did that thing too, of like he would present scenes to like one of his friends and be like, "Where do you think the story's gonna go?" And the guy was like, "I guess this would happen," and he's like, "I'm going to do the exact opposite of that then." And then that's why Red State's a bit like it starts off great, and then after a while you're like, "What is this thing?" And I feel there's a little bit of that in like the film I want more is at the end, the bride declares her independence from Frank, and then he's like, when he dies, he's gone, and then she's like, no, but I don't like I'm not the bride of Frankenstein. I'm not associated with. I'm my own entity. I don't need to be partnered with Frank. I'm not the bride of Frankenstein. I am my own thing. And that's the end.
I think this was their attempt at saying that. Like, as in, okay, look, we're not getting married. That's not my bag. But I like you. I'll still be with you.
Yeah, but
I think that was them trying to do what you're saying.
But then,
and whether that works or not is
but then they go out of the way to like, oh, she drags him. Like, for some reason, after finding out about all this deception, that he was lying about literally everything to her. She's like,
oh yeah, you said that we were engaged.
Yeah, he comes up with a whole cock and bull story. Like, he's literally lying about everything. And she's like, but I love him. And drags him to be resurrected. And the ending shot is them holding hands, like resurrected. And then the Monster Mash starts playing. And you're like, this is kind of like,
about that, yeah.
It goes into, I was like, this is a kind of a bit heteronormative. But it feels like maybe it landed back at that because Maggie Gyllenhaal was like, people are going like, oh, so I guess at the end it's going to be like a transgressive ending where she declares her independence. And she's like, you can predict that? I'm doing the exact opposite then. And I'm going to, I've set all that up and I'm going to go right back now to like, yeah, they're together for some reason. Even though she still knows nothing about him, really. Like, she's like, oh, well, if he's lying to me about that, what else is he lying to me about, you know?
Whether you agree with their decision here or not, right? I think they're trying to say, well, now she's chosen him. Whereas before, she was forced to be with him. But now she has a moment where she could leave him if she wants. But she actually, no, I am choosing you. It's my decision now.
Yeah, but she wasn't so much forced to be with him, is that, like, he was manipulating her into being with him.
Well, yeah. That's why I'm saying, I'm not saying it's right.
Yeah, so but at the end,
that's
been
what
like,
they're trying to do.
I was like, I'm choosing to remain with this guy who's been manipulating me the whole time. It's very, like, you could even, you know, there's some very dark interpretations you could do of that, of like, oh, choosing to stay with the person who's been lying to you the whole time. It's very like, isn't that a bit of a kind of like, you know, there's people in real life who choose to stay with people who were doing horrible things to them as well.
Yeah. I think they were going for something positive, but maybe it comes across, that kind of a way.
Yeah. But the thing is,
she's portrayed initially as like a bit of a free spirit and does what she wants. She's a wild girl, all that kind of stuff.
And she's like,
that's still retained, actually.
People saying nasty things to, in the middle of the movie theater, and she's standing up and telling them to shut up and all this sort of stuff. It's like,
yeah,
she's a hero, a shiro, as it were.
I like that, and I like that carries over from her old life, because she clearly had traits of that before she died. Because one of my favorite lines, I'm gonna have to swear here as well, is she just turns to him and is like, want to fuck? It might make it easier to sleep. It's like, because you get the vibe, that's the kind of thing, her old life, she would just do that with people. Like, well, TMI, I've literally had that happen to me. Someone said this.
I feel like it's...
And it's so awkward, because it's like, well, how do you respond to that question?
But I feel also that's very sort of neurodivergent coded as well. Like, some people just don't have the social filter to realize, like, oh, sex is a very complicated thing for some people. To just be like, why would it be? Like, yeah, let's go and fuck. Like, what's the problem with that? Like, it's
there's nothing else to do. Why don't we do that?
Yeah, it'll physically tire us out, and then there we go. Like, why would this be an issue?
This is it. I think neurodivergent people, as well as queer people, are going to latch onto this eventually. I think that's going to be the audience. Even though it's a straight movie. It's bizarre.
I feel like, no, this definitely will have, like, much like the way I think, like, John Waters declared, like, Joker 2 the film of the year when that came out. I feel that because it's only the start of the year, basically, or it was when this came out. But I feel when December comes around,
Quentin Tarantino say that too.
Yeah. A lot of directors really love Joker 2. I don't know if it landed with them in particular because they could see Todd Phillips been like, "Fuck you, then." Like, all right, I'll make you a sequel, but I ain't gonna make the thing you want me to make. I'm gonna make the thing that I'm gonna explain to you why you were wrong about the first one and stuff.
Respect.
Yeah, so they could be like, "Oh yeah, he's doing a thing some directors would be too scared to do almost." But I will say, though, there is speaking of, like, a love for films, there's such a love of film in general in this, though, because it's so reverent of, like, all the stuff with Jake Gyllenhaal, where he's like the kind of old timey, Gene Kelly-ish kind of Fred Astaire movie star.
Yeah.
there's so like this like things like I didn't know at the time, but like, you know, doing a little bit of research, and I'm really happy I did now because like nothing else. Maggie Gyllenhaal introduced me to this. Is that, of course, one of the names she uses is Ida, like her first, you know, the initial name of the bride is Ida. There's a gangster in it called Lupino, and that's a reference because there's a whole bunch of random little Hollywood references, like, you know, Penelope Cruz's character. We're like an hour in, we've not even talked about the fact Penelope Cruz is in the film.
Oh, right, yeah, get this. I didn't know it was her till about an hour into the movie. I literally wrote down a note. Oh, that lady detective is hot. It's like, of course she is.
So I'll put her into some more movies, huh?
Yeah, she's gonna be big.
Yeah, but her character is called Myrna Malloy, which is a reference to Myrna Loy, who was in The Thin Man, which is like an old-timey detective story and stuff like that. It's like, it's like little things like that. But Ida and Lupino is that, there was a female film director from back in the 50s called Ida Lupino. And she made a film that's now public domain due to licensing cock-ups called The Hitchhiker. And they're like, it's like a crazy, like it's like a violent road movie. And I was like, it's only like 70 minutes and it's on YouTube. I'll watch it. Great film. Really, really good film. And for the time, immensely queer-coded in a very Batman 66 way.
Brilliant.
And that put a pin in that too, because so it's like, it's a classic story of like, these two guys pick up a hitchhiker has a gun. And the whole rest of the movie is them driving through the desert, trying to get away from this guy who's got a gun on the whole time. And it's just like all the tension of like, will they get away from him? Will he shoot one of them? Will he kill them? Will they kill him? And it's just this, this really great looking kind of deranged, hitchhiker and these two men. And at one point, because at the beginning of the movie too, it has a little warning going like, look to your right, the couple next to you. It could happen to them. Like, and introducing the term, the couple next to you, like, a couple. Like, this is like, it happened to a couple. Seeing that, it's two full-grown manly men who are getting held hostage by this guy. At one point, the hitchhiker says to them, like, so where did you tell your wives you were going? And they're like, we're told that we're going to, like, Arizona. And they're like, well, I caught you going to Mexico. And they're like, yeah. Oh. And he's like, you told your wives you were going fishing in Arizona, but you were actually going down to Mexico. And he kind of goes like, hunting for dames, huh? But they give each other a little look like, like, and it's like, they were going on a fishing trip together.
Yeah, good friends. Good friends. Much like, Aunt Harriet coming to Bruce and Dick being like, those fishing trips they keep going on, when they're actually secretly going on something else. And I'm watching it, they go modern day going like, it's 100% like a gay coded movie. Much like also The Hitcher from the 1980s, the Rutger Hauer movie, which is also fascinatingly queer coded. And I kind of feel now like I want to do like a kind of some sort of podcast essay about the queer coding of films called about hitchhikers, I guess. That is so niche, it would work.
Yeah, it would just be a one-off. Just be like, they had the hitchhiker and then the hitcher, and both of these things are talking about queerness in very different manners, but also kind of the same way. But
if we can find a third one, it's on. You'll get it done.
Oh yeah,
you need 3, I think.
But then so Ida Lupino though directs this, for the time, big, really, really thrilling movie. But she was also. And she also directed a bunch of other stuff, including that Twilight episode, The Masks, the Twilight Zone episode, The Masks, where like they had the New Year's party, where everyone's wearing the really grotesque masks and stuff, and it's one of the big classic ones. And then she was also an actress, Ida Lupino, and she showed up as the enrapturing Cassandra, what's it? Dr. Cassandra Witchcraft. In an episode of Batman 66, where
incredible,
yeah, she gets it's a third season, so she's only in the one episode because they stopped doing the 2-parters after a while, and basically she's like an alchemist who comes in. She's got a partner called Kabbalah, who's like this really big hippie guy, but Kabbalah kind of ties into our Madonna or Madonna.
I was literally thinking that, yeah. Remember when she tried to make that cool for a bit?
And at one point she turns Batman, Robin, and Batgirl into like 2D cardboard cutouts. So, like, Commissioner Gordon is just going around with a cardboard cutout of Batman on his arm going, like, we have to turn him back to 3D, and all this kind of crazy crap. But yeah, I was just looking her up, it's like, oh no, Ida Lupino was a well-enough known actress to warrant, special guest villain status in Batman 66. And then she also directed the Hitchhiker, which Maggie Gyllenhaal is, of course, referencing. And Maggie Gyllenhaal and Christian Bale were in a Batman movie together, so... everything's connected.
As always, gotta get one in there.
All roads do truly lead back to Batman, like every single time. So.
I think we've scientifically proven that now.
Yeah. So little quotes like that in there, but then that's so many random, like the fact there's a character in there called Clyde, in a reference to Bonnie and Clyde. And he's one of the two guys at the start, because there's that guy with the lisp who always shows up in comedy stuff, who's like ends up getting shot by the Lupino, the gangster. And this is showing you how much is going on in this movie that I did not clock this to the second viewing. The other guy, who I'm pretty sure is silent the whole movie, he never says anything, but he's the first one to shoot Jesse Buckley at the end.
Yes,
I know
what you mean.
John Magaro. Who, like, he used to go out with Lauren Ashley Carter back in the day. Like, she's mentioned him a couple of times. She dumped him in the street, apparently. She's always like, oh yeah, because he was in Past Lives the other year, and she's like, oh man, that guy gets nominated for an Oscar. I'm gonna be so pissed, basically, because she's like.
Oh God!
Yeah,
God.
That was so weird that watching the movie the first time, I was like, and then talking to her afterwards, and it was only the second time I was like, oh yeah, I realized that guy used to do the Monster Mash with. He was also in the film, and I just didn't catch it the first time because there's so much fucking going on in this thing.
There is. It's crazy. There's so many characters and things. Everything happens really fast, which I like, because there's not a lot of movies that do this. It's just, it's quite relentless. I
feel like it's maybe that's Maggie Gyllenhaal taken from the Chris Nolan book. Like, because I always find that with all his films is that they just keep ramping up and up and up and up and up. And there's never kind of like, dip and rise with Chris Nolan. Particularly with The Dark Knight. Like, I feel like that suits that film so well, because it's like that's the kind of engine of the Joker being in there is like, yeah, things start off slow and it's just like, oh, he's not really a threat, let's deal with these mobsters, and then he keeps doing stuff and keeps doing stuff and keeps doing stuff, and then it's just like it gets to a point where you as the audience want to break, and it's still like, no, now he's threatening to blow up a hospital. Oh wait, now he's rigged all these bombs onto ships, and it's kind of like. That's why that film works so well for me, because like the Joker is just a relentless force, and they're like, Jesus Christ, you need to stop this guy, because he will not. He won't let up. He's gonna keep coming.
He will not stop ever.
Yeah,
until you are dead.
But Chris Nolan tends to. I think that's even in Batman Begins too. Like once Batman Begins kicks into gear, and all the stuff happens with the fear gas, that just goes like relentlessly, like a speed train. Yeah, like the speeding train in it for like an hour. So I don't know if Maggie Gyllenhaal's picked that up from Chris Nolan of like, oh yeah, so you just relentlessly keep going. But the thing is, because Nolan, I feel like he had the story and the juice that keep you engaged the whole time. Whereas I feel by the end of this, I'm a little bit like, oh, it's gone on a bit too long, and I'm not really interested in what's happening because it's sort of all over the place. Like we've got Penelope Cruz now I was so confused by the Penelope Cruz because I thought there's just stuff in there that makes no sense to me. Like she is Peter Sarsgaard, another Batman alum, of course, because he was the DA in Batman. She's his secretary. The first time I saw the film, I thought she was just another detective.
Well, that's why I wrote in my notes, the lady detective, because I did as well. Yeah. I thought maybe she was his, junior.
Yeah.
But, then she proves herself.
But his whole thing is that he's I guess he's kind of like an ally in that she's doing all the work and he acknowledges that she does all the work. But he can't, big her up in front of anyone because he's just like, well, the men won't understand.
Yeah.
But then
men, boo.
But it also just felt like, oh, maybe she is just another detective and she's just not getting her due. But it's like, no, she's literally his secretary, and he's like this kind of schlub who's just like coasting on her achievements, I guess, because he's just like, and I don't know.
Well, she seems to get a bit of credit at the end, doesn't she?
I think at the end, yeah, she 100% like, you know, she's getting her due then. But like there's random things that like she also incredible tailoring. All her outfits are so amazing.
Everyone looks so good in this. Her looks are outstanding, and even her hair.
Oh yeah,
it's just perfect. I'm looking at it right now, absolutely perfect. She's got this like tartan thing on.
Oh, that tartan suit, yeah. Like for the kind of the final act is just like because you're already like you're into like the chaos of the Jessie Buckley dress. But then there's also a little bit of like she seems to refuse to change out of that dress, like, and she's been either screwing or dry humping a penisless monster for like weeks apparently, and it's like the two of them must absolutely stink, like because they're both not changing their clothes.
They don't care. Let go of your hang-ups, man.
It's like, well, if you were sat next to them on the train, John, I'm pretty sure you'd have some hang-ups too.
And who knows what that black goo smells like?
Oh, yeah. I was like, it could be like Annette Bening. I was like, that's why she didn't chase after them. She's like, oh, thank God, I got to smell that goo out of the house.
She has to aerate the whole place for months.
When she comes back, she's like, oh, God, oh, you're getting goo all over the floor. But yeah, so Peter Sarsgaard also has a thing, though, where, like, he's constantly eating, and I didn't get what that was supposed to be about. Like...
No,
because you see, like she's always feeding him. She's like, at one point she comes over and she's just like, he's been shot in the leg, and she's like, I got you an egg sandwich with double cheese and double bacon. And the next time you see him, he's like wolfing down an ice cream, and you're like, what's this saying? Like, it feels like there's a character note here of, and like, you know, they did that for Ocean's 11, like the Clooney Brad Pitt one, where Brad Pitt's constantly eating in the background in those scenes.
And Fast and Furious has it as well.
Yeah. And they've said, like, oh, these people lead unconventional lifestyles, so, like, they need to be constantly snacking because they don't get to sit down to dinner. They're just, like, on the go all the time. And I'm like, is that what they're going for here? Or is there something about, like, she's such a nurturer because she's the female? Maybe. That she's having to provide for this guy. But she's just feeding him junk food the whole time. It's just a comment about Peter Sarsgaard's character is that, like, yeah, he is a very schlubby, complacent guy who's just wolfing down things that are bad. Like, but like, I don't even know where I'm going with that thought. I'm like, well, what is that going to say about anything? Like, it feels like maybe there was a point to it, actually, and then they just didn't get it to completion. You know, like it's.
I don't know. Maybe we're overthinking it, right? Maybe there isn't a point. Maybe he's like, that's just a character bit.
Yeah.
Maybe that is literally depressingly all it is. I don't want that to be be but it could be.
He's like James LaGrosse in Living in Oblivion, where he like comes out and wants to wear the eye patch the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, well, why is he wearing the eye patch though? Like, it's his thing. It's his character thing.
Or literally anything that ended up in Thingy that we covered with Brando.
Oh, the Island of Dr. Moreau.
Dr. Moreau. I always see this. I talked about this on that review. I was going to say Dr. Zhivago. And I know they're different, but I always say Dr. Zhivago.
I would love midway through the film, Peter Sarsgaard just had a random other little mini Peter Sarsgaard walking around with him. He's like, hey, I met this guy. Like, I love him. Let's have him in. And then Maggie's just like, he's my husband. I guess I gotta just like put him into me.
It is quite cute as well. Like, she's thrown her husband in. Like, I know he's an accomplished actor, but you know, it's not just wife guys. It's the other way too.
Yeah. Oh, he's out there too. So he's like, I'm having to fight the battle of being Maggie Gyllenhaal's, husband, and also not one of the Skarsgårds. It's Sarsgaard.
Yeah, I always think he is one of them, but no.
He's like, no, drop the K. It's just Sar. It's not Scar. I was like, it's a very similar name. Are you sure? He's like, I am my own man. I'm not a Nepo baby I'm not a Nepo baby like the Skarsgårds or those goddamn Gyllenhaals. I made my own way, man.
It'll come out that he actually is a Skarsgård and he changed it just to not get associated with that.
It's like, removal of that K cost him $20,000, apparently. But yeah, I mean, like this, it gets so much stuff all over the place in this film, like, and I'm sure it literally could be a minute by minute deep dive, because there's things like the whole thing about like the recurring thing of I would prefer not to, is because they have the little thing about that where like Annette Bening is like, you know, we should also mention, of course, was almost Catwoman and then wasn't, so I feel we should just you know, put that out there as another, everything's connected.
Well, and Penelope Cruz is married to Thingy.
Oh, Javier Bardem, right?
Yeah, who was going to be in the Dark Universe.
Oh, there we go. It's all coming together, baby.
It's all connecting, yeah.
That would have been cool, though.
What was he going to be in that? Was he going to be in... Oh, what was it?
Was he going to be Frankenstein?
I think he might have been Frankenstein, yeah. I have to look this up.
Then I like accidentally, I said, him instead of Christian Bale as Frankenstein earlier. So like that would have been cute, though. It had been like, the husband of Maggie Gyllenhaal is playing the cop, and then Javier Bardem's wife is also in the, like, you know, Javier Bardem is playing the monster and stuff. That could have been a little cute back and forth, but.
Right, here we go. Yeah, he was going to be the monster. He was in talks to do that in 2016. Do
you think they maybe
that'd be great casting for the monster? That'd be fantastic.
I just imagine though, like you know, is Maggie having a little bit of fun with him? Just been like, hey, yeah, I've asked your wife to be in a Frankenstein movie there. You wouldn't have any connective.
What do you think about that?
Wouldn't have any connective tissue to Frankenstein, would you, Javier? Like, no.
Aww.
As long as you have no further questions, no.
I almost did.
I'm in Dune now. I don't need any of this. Like, go screw your Frankenstein movies.
Yeah, and he'll be in the third one because his character's still in it. Then.
Yeah. He's like one of the big meme churners from from the previous two Dune movies was his intense love of and
Lisan al-Gaib.
Yeah, immense faith in this guy. It's just like, hey, he pulled a coin out from behind his ear.
he is Lisan al-Gaib.
I keep telling you, I'm not. That sounds exactly what the Lisan al-Gaib would say.
That's basically what he says, isn't it? He's like, so humble.
Of course you are, my lord. I should know I followed a few. But
fantastic.
But yeah, because they do point out as well. I actually don't know if Mary Shelley would know the quote, but she does fix, because Annette Bening says like, "Oh, you're quoting, you know, Conan Doyle or whatever," and then the Mary Shelley through Ida is like, "No, it's Melville, dear." And it's, of course, I had to look it up myself, but I would prefer not to. Is a, well, I'm kind of intrigued as a story. Is like, it's from something called Bartleby the Scrivener.
Yes, I've heard of that. And
it's a Herman Melville story, like a short story, where this guy hires a new like bank clerk, you know, to be a scrivener, to sit and do all the books and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then he's great the first couple of days. And then when he comes and asks him to do anything, the guy just keeps saying, "I would prefer not to." And it's a bit like the Raven. It's like all he'll say to anything is like, "I would prefer not to." Eventually, then they're like, because the guy feels for this fellow so much that he's just like, "Yeah, I don't want to fire him, but like there's nothing I can do."
But he's useless.
He's literally useless. And eventually, he moves his office to another building, because the guy won't even leave. He's like, "Oh, do you want to go home, Bartleby?" And he's just like, "I would prefer not to." And he just sits staring at the wall. And eventually,
this is creepy.
Yeah. And then he moves to another place. The people who take over that office come to complain to him. It's like, "This is asshole sitting in the building we can't get rid of. Keeps saying I would prefer not to." And then eventually the guy, I think he gets sent to prison because they're just like, he's loitering. He won't do anything. We've thrown him in a cell. And then, like, the guy comes to visit him, and he's just like, "Don't you even want to eat, Bartleby?" And he's just like, "I would prefer not to." And then eventually he just dies of starvation because he just doesn't want to do anything.
Relatable.
Yeah. I looked at people like, interpretations of, like, maybe is Melville kind of giving voice to depression, basically, like back in the day. Of like,
that was my first thought. As someone with depression,
yeah.
I was connecting with it.
It kind of reminded me of like the is it Just, the Radiohead song with a guy lying down in the street?
Oh, I can't remember the name. Yeah, but it's a great video. Great video.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure it's Just. And then there's literally everyone coming and asking him like, why are you lying down? He just refuses to stand up. And it's like, oh, same kind of vibe, I think. Apparently they made films of Bartleby. One of them starring Crispin Glover. So I was like, I'm gonna have to look into this.
That might be where I've heard the name. That could, because I don't actually read a lot. I'm a sparse reader, selective. I've read Dune though, which is I choose insane books to read, but I've never read anything like that. So it must be from the Crispin Glover thing.
Imagine it now though, like Javier Bardem's character coming to Paul Atreides, like, would you care to be our Dune Messiah? And he's like, I would prefer not to. It's exactly what Al-Babib would say.
This is so off topic. I don't know how they're going to do the next movie.
I think the fact they've said it's going to be the last one indicates to me that they're going to cut before anything too wild happens. They're like, we can only go so far.
It's already pretty wild. I mean, the craziest stuff happened in the third book and the fourth book. But this one's pretty nuts. I mean, it starts after the jihad. So his Fremen have gone across the whole universe, committing this holy war, and have killed like 100 billion people. And he's quite happy that he's killed more people than Hitler. That's directly in the book, by the way. He's Hitler was nothing compared to me, kind of thing. Then he ends up getting his eyes blown out by like an atom bomb, and he's blind for ages. Oh, and he leaves his old life and is like a preacher in the wilderness with no eyes and all this kind of crazy stuff. Half of it is just scheming and plotting, people having secret meetings to be like, what can be done about this this Lisan al-Gaib?
Well, I was imagining though,
nuke him. There you go.
Do you know that the Michael Jackson film apparently just ends in 1988, and it has it goes to black, and then a writing comes up to saying his story continues.
Michael will return.
But I can imagine the end of Dune 3. It's just it gets to Paul Atreides going towards an atom bomb. And it's just, his story continues. That was the end of Dune, everybody.
His story does continue. It does continue.
What about his son? Oh, don't ask about his son. don't really go into that.
What about that one who turns into a worm? It's like, no. God damn. Oh. Yeah, there's some wild stuff coming up if they do that. But completely off topic, that's probably going to be bonus material.
Yeah. I mean, at this point now, because we're so off topic with so many things, it's kind of I mean, I feel like we've kind of covered everything. Yeah, pretty much most of it.
It's a hard one to really go through step by step. This movie, you can't really deal with it in that way. You've got to take one or two approaches: the approach we've taken, or a really in-depth analytical thing. And I think I'd have to watch it a lot more than I have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, they're bringing up that Bartleby reference. Is that something because it's used here as a real, you can Bartleby just defying societal conventions by constantly turning down everything, but it feels like he does it to the point of death, whereas the I would prefer not to is a cry of liberation with the bride, and you're kind of is that
when he did it to death, she does it to life.
Yeah, but when she does it, it's cute.
I suppose it could be the same thing, just flipped. Yeah, she's rejecting. Again, I know it doesn't necessarily achieve this, but she's rejecting what she's supposed to do, what she's told to do. And I know that's what Maggie was going for. I've heard her mention it in an interview. That's kind of the whole crux of the character. Oh, well, she's taking back her own agency.
Yeah. I mean, there's all stuff in there with, again, we've not even mentioned, there's a whole mob boss plot line.
Yeah.
Played by that guy, that random, I think he's Swedish actor, I think it's
I'm just going to say everyone's Swiss now because of this movie.
But it's called Blaton Zurich. He's that guy, I remember in Superman last year.
Wait, Zurich is Switzerland.
Well, yeah. That guy was the prime minister of the made-up country that Hawk Girl, spoilers for Superman, Hawk Girl drops him. He's got kind of crazy hair. And he's...
Yeah, and everyone got turned on by that scene.
Oh, it's very...
Did you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got turned on by this. Also, every scene that featured Hawk Girl, pretty much.
Yeah.
But that actor randomly keeps popping up and everything. Now he's in Wonder Man. He's just everywhere it turns. Like, oh, that's just Hollywood's gone all in on this random 60-year-old like Eastern European actor out of nowhere. He's like, what they usually would do with like the that guy from Avatar or whatever, when they just decide, you're all about this actor now. They're just like,
yeah,
this random dude, he's been working for 40 years, he's finally got somewhere. But he plays that gangster too. Didn't recognize him without the crazy hair, to be fair.
No, I didn't at all.
But his whole thing is that, he takes out people's tongues. And so, but I think he takes out everybody's tongue. But I guess, I thought, it's not really specified that he takes out only women's tongues, which I feel it would have been a stronger thing. Because then because then it could have been he could have been sort of like a serial killer. Well, it's a bit Batman again. Yeah. It's a bit like in the Penguin TV show when you find out that, Carmine Falcone was the holiday killer. And it was kind of one of the weirdest little notes we had for that, because it's like, I feel like Carmine Falcone would just be killing people as a mobster. Like, why is he also a serial killer? And why is that
It's totally different now. When you kill them as a mobster, that's work.
You can't write that off in your taxes if you're a serial killer.
Yeah. There's the work killing and there's the hobby killing. Totally different.
It's such a weird thing. It's just like, yes, I'm a gangster trying to keep the whole that afloat, but also I have to keep secret that I'm a serial killer. It's like, dude, it feels like you're overworking your illegal extracurricular activities over here.
It's the love of the game. You can't stop it.
Maybe you could just strangle people, for mobster reasons. Why do you have to do it as a serial killer?
Because you don't want to bring your hobbies into your work. Then you don't like your hobbies anymore.
Oh, but he's at the end. There's a little bit in the mid credits where you find out all the people who were inspired by the bride have gone in and taken him out, and I think they're building up to they took out his tongue, and the tongue thing being important because there's literally black ink all over the bride's tongue. One of the things when she first comes into that club where the lady fixes her eyebrows for her, and it's kind of she's in a kind of drag space, and it's very these are her people and stuff.
Very queer again.
Yeah. Well, she she does a proper Gene Simmons, or extends her tongue way out, and you're like, oh, that's a crazy long tongue.
I love it.
But so I feel like her having a black tongue, and then this gangster who goes after people's tongues. But I feel like, again, to bring up Miami Connection, remember, in that one of our things during that was that Dragon Sound don't really know why these people are coming for them, because they've just Jeff and his cronies have decided, we need to take out Dragon Sound. And then Dragon Sound just keep getting attacked by these random ninjas. And they're like, what the hell is even going on? Drug dealers? What are you talking about? But I feel like the bride and Frank will be like, there's a gangster coming after us? Who? They don't know who this guy is.
Is he ever aware? Is he?
I don't think they ever find out. Maybe that's supposed to be the point. It's they're so off on their own thing. It is a proper, if that gangster came in, he'd be like, finally the bride. I've got you, and she would just be like, who the devil are you? And just be like, ah.
Oh, I would love to see that.
But that's the thing, I would love to, as would I. I feel that should be the scene then. It's him finally coming for her, and her being like, I don't even know who you are, man. What do you mean I ruined your life? But yeah, so sort of again, half-baked, but you're and then even because they tattoo the ink coming out of his mouth, but they don't confirm that they removed his tongue, so I'm kind of feels like you got off easy there. If they didn't actually take out his tongue too.
Well, I mean, it doesn't say either way. We could headcanon that they did. I've got the scene up now. Actually, it's quite a cool scene. It's very, again, I don't know. I mean, I don't mean this in a bad way. It feels a bit juvenile. Oh yeah, we're badasses. Look at it. But it also feels very, I don't know, something Harley Quinn would get up to. Yeah, this kind of stuff.
I think it's all the kind of gurning faces that the people are making the camera. It's got a bit of a kind of...
To the camera. I think that's what it is. It's because it's to camera.
Yeah. It has a bit too much of a... And I say this in as a person who loves Bikini Kill, but it's got this kind of rebel girl, kind of yeah, girl power, man. It's very
But when Bikini Kill did it, though, it was fresh.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
When they did it was cute.
Yeah.
But no, it has this sort of thing of been it's a bit too it's almost bored. It's not quite pop punk kind of gurning into the camera. But it is very like, yeah, that's right. We're taking out the man. It's very like
bit on the nose for you. You'd prefer a more subtle way of saying the same thing.
Yeah. And it also feels like we're all adults. I guess it's a name to teenagers, I don't think.
I think teens are going to like it. I think it's going to find its audience there. Definitely. Imagine that you're like a 16-year-old goth girl.
Yeah.
You'd love this.
Well, I do feel like it has a lot in common with Lisa Frankenstein. That was a thing.
That's a better movie, though.
Oh, Lisa Frankenstein, yeah, definitely a better film. But that was one, and I feel it did have that thing of like big build up. Also made by a nepo baby. It was Zelda Williams, of course, wrote that. I'd say that with love for because I thought she did a great job with it. But a Frankenstein-based movie came out, really weird and colorful and lots of fun, a lot to love about it, and the critics turned on it, and everyone was like, "Oh, the hell, Lisa Frankenstein." But I'm maintaining, 10 years now down the line, there will be a hardcore Lisa Frankenstein cult following, and I feel like it's already kind of there. There's some people out there who are like,
absolutely,
like they've already found it, and they're like, this is a great film. And I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I'm seeing it happen already. Yeah, you're right.
But I feel like the Joker 2 was much more of a high-profile bomb because, the first one won Oscars and all this kind of stuff. And I feel like that's going to have a kind of like almost like an Empire Strikes Back thing of like 20 years from now, people will be like, can you believe the way back in the day people didn't like Joker Folie à Deux? Like they thought it was people now it seems crazy, but back in the day people didn't like Empire Strikes Back, and now it's so revered and stuff.
When you look at the contemporary reviews, they're mostly like, they've killed it.
Yeah, you're on it. Whereas I feel The Bride, I don't think it's going to have that. I feel like it'll just be like quietly like beloved in cult movie circles. It'll be like Phantom of the Paradise. It'll just be like, certain people have seen this and they all love it. And they're all like, oh, it's crazy. Yeah, it's a bit of a mess, but it's amazing. And people all over like, yeah, the Bride, you will eventually see loads of people at drag nights dressed as, Ida. It'll have that legacy, but I don't think it'll have the same like reverence of people. I feel people will eventually be like, Joker Folie à Deux is an absolute classic, and it'll have that vibe. Whereas this will be more like, it's just it'll survive under the benches, it'll be all.
This is for the sickos. This is for the freaks. It's not going to be as mainstream. Yeah, it's going to appeal to weirdo goth girls. I'm telling you, that's going to be the thing, which is fine. That's great. And I want to dress as the character, even though I don't love the movie. I think it's fine. I want to dress as her. She looks great. Yeah. That's going to be my Halloween. There you go.
Actually, I'll find a perfect way to put a pin in that. In that, back in the day, a film came out made by an actor turned director, Charles Laughton. Night of the Hunter. Okay, Night of the Hunter it's a very strange, really off kilter kind of weirdo little movie. Hated when it was released, massive bomb. And people were like, the great Charles Laughton has made this. Jesus Christ, what the hell is he on? And then decades later, he never made another movie. Like, he never directed anything because he was just like, the failure of that hit him so badly.
Yeah. Years
down the line now, everybody loves Night of the Hunter. It's like a really revered, not underground classic, but it's kind of got like, amongst film circles. So everyone understands Night of the Hunter is an absolute masterpiece. And Charles Laughton he was a gay man, but he was married to a woman, and that woman was Elsa Lanchester, the Bride of Frankenstein. So hey, it all comes together, baby.
Hey, everything's connected.
That's my final notes for The Bride, because I don't think I'm going to be able to beat that. So.
Yeah, I think we should wrap it up. I hope you've watched the movie. If not, you've sat here and listened to us talk for a million hours.
The only other
spoil everything.
Note I wanted to put in was just that I think at one point they mentioned that there's a cop called Fred Wynn, and I thought is that is that a reference to Fred Gwynn, the guy who played Herman Munster?
100%. Without a shadow of a doubt, there's no way, because that doesn't sound like a normal name.
No.
They're doing it deliberately.
You call him Edwin, but then they specifically call him Fred Wynn. It's like, Fred Gwynn. And we're going to add it with like, we're approaching this with Monsters energy. I'm like, yeah, all right. If only there were more of it, but.
Yeah, but when they do, it really does work for me. It's such a roller coaster. I actually think everyone should watch it because I think it's probably going to hit with more people than it doesn't. It's not perfect by any means, but it's interesting, it's different, it's enjoyable, it's trying something new. You've probably not seen something too similar. I know we compared it to other movies, but it's its own thing.
Oh, I mean, it's wearing its references on its sleeve, but I will give it so many flowers for being like, oh, it's incredibly unique. Like you won't see anything like this.
This is why I actually haven't rated it. Normally, I watch a movie, I immediately rate it on Letterboxd. Since I watched this a few days ago now, right, I don't know what to give this. Because, I mean, I could give it a 5. I could give it a 1.
Yeah.
I could give it a 3. I don't know. I'm going to have to really think about it. Maybe watch it a second time. I don't know. But, yeah, I had a lot of fun. And I want the deleted scenes. I want to see licking goo. Yeah, come on. It's a horny movie.
I'm curious
do it.
If, like, will Maggie... Because, again, like, 90 million budget, gross 20 million. I was like, that's a economic... That's studios going no to every other pitch.
Well, and you also, it's not like the old days where it might still find its audience on tape or DVD, because it might find an audience on streaming. But how does that bring money back in? I don't understand the mechanics.
It'll just be like, oh hey, in 6 years' time, The Bride is #1 on Netflix, and Maggie Gyllenhaal been like, well, where were you 6 years ago? Like we're dying there. But I am curious though, because I know like people have always pointed out that like. Some male directors have had massive bombs and then were able to come back from them. It doesn't tend to happen. Female directors, if they have Patty Jenkins after Wonder Woman 84. Where is she? She's vanished. She made a massively successful first film. Second film, people didn't like. And then now she's like, oh, she can't get anything off the ground. Like, because people are like, the Wonder Woman 84 lady. But I would also say, though, because Olivia Wilde made, again, she wasn't spending crazy money, but like made Booksmart, everybody loved that. Made Don't Worry Darling, that everyone seemed to really hate, including Florence Pugh, who starred in it, and she deterred on Olivia Wilde. And for a while I thought like, well, that's good, the end of Olivia Wilde, and she's never coming back for that. I was in the cinema the other day, saw a trailer for something starring Olivia Wilde and Seth Rogen. I was like, this is a really good trailer. I'm looking forward to this movie. And it was like, at the end, it was like directed by Olivia Wilde. And I was like, oh, she's back. She's back doing stuff. So
there you go.
She probably was doing it at a fraction. I can imagine Maggie Gyllenhaal will be back. But it will be like, oh yeah, I'm making like a little, a minuscule indie drama now, rather than like.
Yeah.
Or if I was her, I'd just be like, I get the vibe. You want to be out there with the Frank Sidebottoms and the Cecil B. Dementeds. Just take some money out of your family's vault and just go off into the woods and make some crazy crap, But
family's vault. I love this image.
She is seriously descended from like Swedish aristocracy. Like it's like
that's crazy.
Not only Hollywood royalty, but Swedish aristocracy. But we'll say though, in terms of like Maggie Gyllenhaal love stories. It's not as good as Secretary, and I feel like we went like nearly 2 hours without making reference to Secretary in this as well. But.
I know. I really had to hold back because I would go on like a 20-minute conversation about Secretary, and it's already going to be there's a lot to edit here.
There's like if they had got James Spader in to play the monster in this would have been the greatest film ever made. I feel. If it had been perfection. Maggie Gyllenhaal playing the bride and James Spader was playing the monster, I'm like. Oh, there we go. Everything about it's perfect then. Like you don't need to fix anything.
Yeah. What more could people want? Best movie ever, right there.
Oh.
Just leave it on that